And there we are. What's happening, guys? Good morning out there to everybody. Sunday morning, up bright and early, expecting something miracles today of some sort. A serious miracles needed today. Just quickly before this starts, fly on over to X, formerly known as Twitter. I went to my profile there. I believe I shared Graham's. Nope, I don't think I did. Alex. Where is it? Where's that article gone? I was only just reading it there a little bit a while ago. Oh yeah, click the medium. Click the picture. Thought there was a link in that a while ago. But this is a great article there from Cáceres Drogas. The Citizens' Assembly on Drug Use has sparked a heated debate following a ballot final vote in the weekend. The framing of this ballot has raised serious concerns among citizens who recognise the importance of comprehensive drug regulation and health-led approaches. Said it's essential to highlight that regulating drugs should not be seen as a mutually exclusive from implementing a comprehensive health-focused strategy. The dichotomy of one or the other oversimplifies a complex issue. And unfortunately, this is exactly how the debate was framed. And I'd recommend get over there, give this article a read in its entirety. The CA is going to start there now shortly, so I won't read through it. But even just that opening 2 paragraphs there, that opening piece, that just highlights what's incorporated into the rest of it. He talks a little bit about the single transferable vote system and how that is like it's a good system. It's a very good system to use for voting in your politicians and what have you, like, but for using it on the simple question that was there yesterday, like, you know, the status quo, health diversion, compliance, comprehensive health-led tolerance or legalization regulation, there was no need really to be doing a 1 to 5 on that, you know, vote your favourite to your least favourite. It didn't make much sense. Then as well, you know, the legalization and regulation not having a health-led focus included there in that statement, it really drew people towards this, you know? And then tolerance not being called decriminalization, because I don't get what that is, like, tolerance. Like, tolerance, that should have been decriminalization. The citizens, how are they supposed to understand what tolerance is? Like, tolerance, that's what they have in Amsterdam. They tolerate the market. But, like, effectively, decriminalization is what people know it as. People know decriminalization. They don't realise what fucking tolerance is. So there was a lot of issues there with that ballot yesterday. Morning, Scotty. What's happening out there, guys? See people just starting to fill on into the hot box there now as we wait there for this to start. 2 minutes late. But yeah, highly recommend anyway, guys. Get over there, give that article a read. You'll find it on Graham DeBarra's YouTube, X page. So at Graham's DB, and second post down there on that. He also has got some good stuff up there as well. He put some great videos up on his YouTube channel as well, Cáceres Drogas. Go over and check them out because he's been around checking out the legal scene in Thailand and New York and other places as well. I think he was even over. Were you buying hash there not too long ago as well in like fucking India or Pakistan or some shit like that? Like, quite jealous of this guy's travels because
just take your seats and we're formally kicking off this morning's session. Thank you, everybody, for, again, really prompt attendance. Much appreciated to help us get through this morning's order of business. I hope you enjoyed yesterday evening. It was really great to chat to you all. I know we're nearly at the end of a very long stretch. A little bit of business to do this morning, which we will get through. I'll just run you through in a few moments, and we get a chance to reflect just later on. But I think it was a really nice evening, and I really enjoyed chatting with everybody throughout yesterday evening. Just in terms of the order of business this morning, we have a few procedural pieces still to do. I just want to reflect on them very quickly. Firstly, we need to count the ballot of ballot paper number 4, which we just concluded yesterday evening. And I'll be asking Jesse and Marcus again to join with Kieran and the team, and we'll just conclude that vote. And we can do that in parallel. We'll keep moving on. Secondly, we need to get to, there was an item 3.6, if you remember, that wasn't on your ballot paper correctly. We need to finalise the wording on that. And I know some members, Rebecca particularly in table number 8, had stated the issue of accountability, and we need to state it expressly and clearly. And actually, as we looked at 3.6, that is on the issue of accountability, but I'm proposing we would change the wording to it, and I'll just put it up on the screen for everybody to have a look at and agree or otherwise a change. So 3.6 we'll need to do. And we can take that as well. And then we will come to ballot paper number 5, which I had time for deliberations at the table yesterday evening. And what I'm proposing of that, we'll just walk through each of the recommendations and take any changes as we walk through each one, and try to conclude then on the ballot number 5. And then finally, ballot number 6, which I think only has 4 on it, and we'll get through that as well. We have time. I do believe we can do this in an hour and a half. I'm sure people would want to work with me to get there, because we've done the hard work on a lot of number 5 in particular yesterday as well, deliberations at your table. So I put that down as a kind of target for us to try conclude by 11. Just to say in advance, lunch will be still in the hotel here. I think the hotel have arranged to have it for 12:30. So, you know, all please do feel free to get a bit of fresh air. Whoever can join us, please do for lunch. But I'm going to propose I try move the agenda through for us to conclude by 11-ish. But look, I'm in your hands. So the first thing I'm going to go and ask, if I can, ask Jesse and Marcus to join with Kieran, and we'll just try do the count and ballot. Before Jesse and Marcus go, actually, can I just put the wording up on proposal for, which was 3.6, but it's around the issue of accountability, if we can. And Rebecca, not just pinning you out, but I know people have an interest to make sure we're clear and unambiguous around the role of accountability. So can you just have a quick reflection? I don't propose to read it word for word, but if you can have a quick reflection on that, please. I've aimed to make it very clear. We'll take it just a minute. Okay, so any quick suggestions that aren't completely wordsmith, but I'm open to any. Is that addressed the challenge we have, or any kind of? Sorry, Kerry, did you have a suggestion? Just have a mic there. 1 second, Kerry.
I'm not sure from the person who asked about accountability, which I think we're all concerned about, but was it all drug use or problematic drug use? Because we're using the term drug misuse and problematic drug use quite a lot.
Fair point.
So, well, from the room,
are we okay with problematic drug use? Quick show of hands, problematic drug use. Okay, no, I think that's clear. Okay, hands up, are we okay to go with that? And we'll prepare, we just need to get that ready for ballot.
Non-problematic drug
okay,
use.
Okay, that's agreed. We'll get that ready in tandem as well.
Versus problematic.
So again, if I can ask Jesse and Marcus to join us, and we go for table number 4. And I'm conscious Jesse and Marcus will be out as we're deliberating on number 5, but we won't hold any ballot until Jesse and Marcus come back and to reflect as well. So I'm going to go to number 5 now. Ballot number 5, and I know it seems like a long time ago yesterday evening, but you did have a bit of deliberation around the table. What I'm going to propose is, rather than going randomly each table and taking them all, we're going to go through each element of the recommendation. If you can pull them up, Cathal. So we'll go through number 5 and just take one by one if there's any change or wording, and we'll just... So the first one, 5.1. Next iteration of National Drug Strategy should continue to prioritise the objective of reducing illicit drug supply at international, national and local level within communities. So please put your hand up if any table had a suggestion or proposes to make any change to that. So table number 12, is it? Table number 12, please.
Thank you. Next to, so where we say...
Sounds like a little kid talking.
Sorry.
Oh, it is a little kid.
Next. Take your time.
Take out next in the statement.
Sure, yeah.
And as well as that, next to supply, we should also include associated structures.
Or maybe that
In the text.
person is
Yep.
18.
Yeah. Just give us 1 second.
Look very young though, don't they? Extremely
Just
young.
sorry,
guy.
just clarify that last one, please. Lauren.
They've got school tomorrow.
So where we have reducing illicit drug supply, we should add and associate structures in the title.
Associated structures.
Oh, in the 5.1 title, is it? Okay, again, I would ask people, don't please get too concerned on the title one, but because that's not necessarily what would be in the report. It's just a heading to help us today. Okay. Can I go a quick show of hands? Are people happy with 5.1 as it's stated now with that amendment? Sorry, no, sorry, there was one other change, was there? Oh, no, show of hands. Everybody okay with table number 5.1? Okay, we will go with that. So, it's 5.2. Call, please.
Jesus.
Okay. The government should develop and expand the use of alternative pathways for young people engaged in low-level sale and distribution of drugs. Do I have from any table any proposed change to 5.2? Yes, we do. Table 14, please.
Yeah, you're spot on there,
This
Logan,
is
reporter.
on behalf of a member, so that it be consistent and obligatory that the judiciary use restorative justice or diversion for low-level sale and distribution.
Is that an extra sentence in the recommendation, is it?
Yes.
Do you want to just call it one more time, please?
Yeah, that it be
Oh, sorry, it's in the explanatory, is it?
Yeah, there's reference to restorative justice programs and youth diversion schemes.
The emphasis is on not requiring, but being consistent across all judiciary that they consider restorative justice as a default rather than an option.
I understand your point.
Yeah.
And is your proposal that that's brought up into the recommendation as opposed to the explanatory text?
It is.
Okay.
Yep.
I understand.
Thank you.
We need to
Yeah, I'd agree with you there, Scantonist. A complete fucking train wreck.
just give us one moment, please. You're working hard. You're working Cathal hard very early, straight away. Good man.
Please feel free to help me here.
Idiot in a house. as Irish
Restorative
Catholic.
justice and
Not about the small dude. Hashtag Ireland Rights Reports. Yep.
Okay. Well, Cathal's
sorry,
apologies. Go on.
is there one final clause there?
It's already implied in low-level sale and distribution.
Spot on,
Yeah,
Scantonist.
okay.
That
Never
can
had
be
a
in the
single
subtext,
substance
I would
expert in the
suggest.
entire duration. You're spot on there.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, table 12. Do you have a proposed change?
Yeah, the table was just asking, could the final sentence of the narrative be included in the header? So that's with enhanced investment in community-based work and community development projects and initiatives.
Yeah, you're spot on there, Scantonist. They didn't even know about the drug classifications, and that was quite apparent yesterday when it came to grouping them.
Okay. Can I get a show of hands if we're okay to go 5.2 as stated? Okay, thank you. 5.3.
Okay.
Sorry, Carl.
Alright. 5.3, here we go.
National Drug Strategy should focus on building resilient, sustainable communities through local partnerships. Table 4, thank you. This here. You got a mic? Table 4.
Jerome, do we have a mic?
Can we have a mic, please?
Hey, good morning. National Drug Strategy should focus on building resilient, sustainable communities through local partnerships and stronger community policing.
That's very clear. Thank you. Any for
A little bit of
Jack
civil
first and
disobedience,
then-
sure.
Sorry, table 2 and then
Is
table
it still an
1, is
illegal
it?
act?
Aveline, good morning.
Good morning. Just maybe after local partnerships at both a local at both a rural and urban environment, or in both urban and rural
Yeah.
environments.
Get your point, Jack. Thank you.
Just,
Evelyn?
just a thought, but is this one not quite similar to 3.7, and are we doubling up?
Wow, good stuff. Someone's done their homework last night.
I feel like I've met Jack before.
3.7, was it, Evelyn? Okay. Excuse me 1 sec.
Scatness here saying, but that's the bias from the government coming through, lack of knowledge and interest into deeper matters.
Marginalised
Which now
groups
shot
and disadvantaged
a-
communities. It might be different on my
The whole
draft.
CA in the foot.
The next, yeah, that one.
Which
That one there,
shoots the
yeah.
whole, the whole CA in the foot.
So I think 3.8 is focused really on sort of the range of addiction treatment services, treatment, recovery, harm reduction, and so on. Whereas the one that we're looking at now is focused on wider supply-related issues.
What about the vulnerable, non-problematic drug users, huh? Does nobody ever think
There is
about them?
crossover, but there's
They're
probably
fucking
also
vulnerable.
distinction.
People like myself,
Okay.
vulnerable to be treated like a criminal or a drug addict.
Can I show of hands
These
quickly?
people
We're
are
okay
a
on
bunch of moralistic
5.3.
pricks.
Thank you very much. 5.4.
Not these people at the assembly, but the
please.
policymakers. Ridiculous. Like, tackle drug-related intimidation and violence. Like, the best way to tackle that is through regulation,
next
legalisation
iteration
and
of-
regulation.
And again, we'll take it next.
How else are
Just
you going to
say
do
that
this?
Straight away.
More guards, is it?
The National
The
Drug
same guards
Strategy
who are working
should
with the gangs.
prioritise the objective of tackling
Clowns.
drugs-related intimidation and violence. Table number 12, please.
Good morning, everybody. We'd like to add to the narrative that consideration to be given to the establishment of a local cab.
You see, look, a local cab. No more establishments of extra
Local
fucking
cab,
guards. Like,
was
we,
it?
we can't even
Cab.
actually recruit the guards that we need already. Just to police the
you.
streets. To keep people safe from murderers, rapists,
And
thieves.
again, I'm just saying.
we want
so
a new
you're-
local
you're,
cab now for fucking
reassured
drugs.
You will have time to feed back
Come
to
on,
the
like.
in the reports as well.
The one little piece there.
The system can handle
If it's okay,
the
I've just
law-
got to add in the
crimes
word
as it is.
consideration to be given to the establishment of local criminal asset bureau units,
Yes.
obviously within
That's
the overall
absolute
structure of the cab.
BS.
And there was
Okay.
one other question just in relation to the whether the word somewhere should go in about the source of drug-related intimidation and violence as well. So it's the impact and source, so that you're tackling the causes.
Come on, how's this any different to what they're doing all along? Like?
Source.
It's the exact same shit. They're just calling for more guards,
Okay.
establishment of more fucking
Quick
little
show of
quangos.
Jack, or was that a show of hands? You get in before me, Jack. You're up early this morning as well.
Thank you, Paul. I guess maybe we should, I'm not exactly sure about the clear wording of this, but possibly include a small part, like a small maybe sentence kind of describing that
All good, Scotty.
although these individuals are engaged in criminal activity, the Assembly has noted that in many cases these people are driven by, drug addiction, and that should be,
And poverty. Drug
acknowledged.
addiction, poverty.
They shouldn't just be treated as just conventional criminals.
Spot on, Jack, boy. This guy's got a good head on his shoulders.
Yeah,
Fair
that one is
fucking
tricky.
play to him.
I'm not quite sure. Sorry. Okay.
Paul
so
doesn't want to address the,
let's
the,
word it
the,
and then
the
we'll
human behind
see.
it, you know,
So
and what might be driving the behaviour.
you're
That
saying,
it's not
Jack,
just to
take
fucking spread
cognizance of the
drugs.
fact that this may be related to the drugs-related issues and should be treated differently? I know. I'm just trying to repeat what Jack said.
Sorry, Jack, is that more relevant to sale and supply and distribution rather than drug-related intimidation and violence?
Here you go, Jack.
It's, I guess I was coming at this from the perspective that there are underlying issues, and that there obviously should be a very clear distinction between most of the people. I'm kind of now coming to the realization that yes, most of the people doing this are probably like, they're not the same as like, some of the other people that we've met. So I don't know. It's
he's just
it's
trying to say
tricky.
you don't want to
I
be
definitely do
punishing
think
somebody
that
who's a victim.
the reaction of the assembly does, you know, display a very clear sort of like, you know, there is a divide between like, you know, these different types of people. So I think I'll probably rescind what I've just said.
Okay, Jack.
Just
It's no problem.
omit it.
Thank you. That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, I didn't get a second name for Jack at all, Mega.
I know the feeling when you're explaining you're losing. Gets difficult. Okay, Jack. Okay, so are we okay 5.4 as it stands? Quick show. Sorry,
Jack
table
gets
6.
it.
Sorry for
Spawn
that.
and Bog one.
Hi, yeah, we just wanted to add on 5.4 at the start, instead of should prioritise, it should read continue to prioritise. And at the end of that sentence,
Yeah, continue because
and
they're
take
just
a
continuing the
zero
same
tolerance
shit.
approach.
Zero
after
tolerance.
violence.
Yeah, we shouldn't have fucking tolerance to violence. Yeah, I would agree with him there on that. Like, but is that not already what we do? We have a zero tolerance approach to fucking violence. Like, how do we have a tolerance to violence?
Quick show of hands for as I stated. Okay, that's clear enough. Yeah. 5.5. 5.5 was it, or 5.6 is it?
Oh, yeah.
Prioritise harm. The next, no, we done that. We done that, didn't we? We did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
National Drug Strategy.
5. We haven't done this one now. Okay, so National Drug Strategy should prioritise the objective of promoting more widespread use of and rapid adoption of evidence-based approaches to harm reduction. Any immediate changes? Table 6, then Table 1.
me.
We would like to add into the explanatory narrative that to include a permanent drug testing facility in Ireland.
Yes, I like that one.
Any particular place there, everywhere you wanted that reference, was it? Or just a general sentence in it?
Within just
But the thing
kind
is,
of after include
you
when
wouldn't
starts
need drug
listing
testing
centres and things.
if your drugs were
Yeah.
quality assured at the source.
Okay.
You know, through regulation and
Again, I know I
legalisation.
keep saying it, but rest assured you will have a chance on the narrative.
Like what they're doing is just
Contribute.
putting more fucking burden
Sorry.
on taxpayers.
Yes, on 5.5, I feel that the statement is very vague because of its wordiness. So where it says prioritise the objective of promoting more widespread use and rapid adoption of evidence-based approaches, I think what that essentially is saying, aim to promote the use of an approach. It's quite vague. There's not really an action derived out of that. So it could actually be sort of passed by and with no definitive action. So what I propose is to reduce some of that wordiness and say to use the approach, the evidence-based approach, in to harm reduction. I would prefer it to be more direct in describing the approach to harm reduction. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Sorry, I'll be brief. Just naloxone we haven't mentioned, which I'd like to see in there for guards to be able to carry as well.
Yeah, fair play, girl. I like that call too.
And can we...
Just one sec, Kerry. Go ahead.
So we can add maybe down here.
Narcan, naloxone should be all widely available.
Yeah. Yep. Kerry?
And can part of that be reducing the barriers? Because we've been talking about these sort of facilities for a long time, and local communities object. So let's be realistic that part of this has to be looking at the objections and the barriers
Sure, there wouldn't be
to
as many
bringing these
objections if it
facilities
wasn't
in. So
illegal.
that has to be named. And we have to look at why these facilities are put in certain areas, not other areas.
Okay, so we have the word.
So that actually has to be named and go in, otherwise we can talk about it and it's not going to happen again.
Okay, we have the wording.
Like you think of the objections, a lot of the times
Are we okay?
people don't want
Propose to go with
to
5.3
attract
as
dealers and stuff to
written.
the area.
Show of hands to say yes.
But if you regulated and supplied,
Okay.
say the heroin
Fair
and
enough.
a supervised
Thank you.
injection
Thank you very
centre
much.
or drug consumption room,
Strategic approach to
you
drugs.
wouldn't be
5.6
attracting drug
next.
dealers then, would you?
The National Drug Strategy should include
And you wouldn't have objections.
a detailed
at
action
least as
plan to
many.
enhance Ireland's approach to prevention of drug use. Table 10, please. Zin.
B. Mooney says, imagine the two spoiled votes were just two
We
stoners who
suggest to
forgot the
add
instructions.
dual diagnose and early screening of ADHD, etc., to the SPHE as a part of the primary, secondary, and tertiary prevention, and that national drug strategy should support the Department of Health to work on.
ADHD, was it? In the context of primary, secondary?
And yes, and dual diagnose.
Okay.
Okay, we have an explanatory and dual diagnosis. Propose we go with 5.6 as is. No order. Sorry? No.
Kerry.
Sorry, Kerry. Sorry, Kerry, just 1 sec, we get a mic.
If it's okay, not just ADHD, neurodiversity. So
ADHD,
it takes
neurodiversity
in. So it takes in autism as well.
ADHD, neurodiversity, and dual diagnosis. Sorry, I wasn't quite sure. Can I just check the room? Can I show hands of 5.6 if we're okay to go? No, we're not. Okay, so table 12. Sorry, no. Oh, sorry, you were good to go. Apology. Sorry, I didn't get a show of hands that we're okay with this.
Don't
Sorry?
really matter anyway. They didn't
Can I
understand
check
your
one more time?
instructions yesterday and you didn't even count. the bloody
5.6.
hands.
Are we happy to go with 5.6 as currently worded? Show of hands if you're happy to go put this to ballot. Show of hands if you're not. Okay, there's
very
a clear
un-
majority. Somebody want to come in?
What?
Yeah, Jack first of all.
I suppose maybe from our camera angle we're not seeing a lot of the hands.
Guess I was looking for a bit of, just looking for a definition of what is meant by primary, secondary, and tertiary prevention. What's the distinctions between the three?
Good man.
So it's one type of terminology. Sorry, it's one type of terminology that describes the whole spectrum of intervention or prevention measures. I know Dr. Mary Cannon down the back might be able to clarify this if I say something wrong, but primary prevention effectively are the kind of universal prevention programs we heard about that are done through SPHE curricula in primary and secondary schools. Secondary prevention is, for example, things like the SARE intervention model that is sort of engages with people who are already using drugs and at risk of developing problematic drug use. And tertiary prevention then is things like the kind of wraparound services of, housing, education and training and so on that help people sustain recovery and prevent their relapse back into drug use having gone through treatment and recovery. So they're it's the full spectrum really of prevention approaches for different cohorts of the population.
Okay, we did have suffice to put it to ballot, so people have an option now to ballot on 5.6. 5.7, build resilience and prevention capital. And 5.7? Lars, yeah, sure.
Just two things if you'll remit it. After resilience, to include mental health. It's on the second line of the headline. Resilience, mental health. And then at the end to add in dual diagnosis after adverse childhood experiences, just to include those two pieces.
Can you just check with mental health in there twice? Just Lars, mental health was in.
In the third line, it's already there.
Yeah, but to bring it up
Okay.
as
Yeah.
the enhancement piece.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Is that okay? Thank you.
No, that's okay. Tables more 7. Graham.
Yeah, it's pretty similar to the last speaker, but I just thought to emphasise the mental health a bit, if we could put in an effort to circumvent the possibility of developing a dual diagnosis, mental health resourcing and funding need to be taken more seriously and substantially enhanced.
Can I suggest more we strengthen this in the narrative, explanatory narrative? Because we reference mental health in the recommendation, but we put some sentences to your,
that's
satisfaction. Just give us a moment.
Sorry, Maura, would you mind repeating that for me, and I'll try and capture it in the narrative, thanks.
Sorry?
Yeah, would you mind repeating your suggestion and
All
I'll
right.
capture it, please? Thanks.
In an effort to circumvent the possibility of developing a dual diagnosis, mental health resourcing and funding need to be taken more seriously and substantially enhanced.
Mental health resourcing.
Needs to be taken seriously and substantially enhanced.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maura. Table 6. Avrik.
We actually wanted an additional recommendation around mental health because we felt that this wasn't strong enough for ongoing mental health issues, and it was focused on kind of catching it young rather than for people who are already experiencing it.
Just say it again, Avrik, you wanted it separate?
We wanted a separate recommendation specifically to promote the funding of mental health services, like ongoing support, rather than try and catch it in children and young. We just wanted a separate recommendation specifically on mental health that wasn't around children, young people, and like a louder childhood experiences.
Sorry, Avrik, sorry, Kerry, please, can I just clarify? It's
To us, this just read that it was for children and young people.
Your concern is this one specifically for children and young people.
Yeah.
And you want your
We want a
proposal is-
specific recommendation that mental
we
health
just-
services need
can
to
we-
be improved.
Can we use this recommendation, say, overall, and not just, not just young children and young people?
Could I propose just a very slight change that might sort of rectify it by saying, instead of saying with a focus, including a focus on therapeutic supports for children and young people, but also for the wider population.
Yeah.
It's not saying it's excluding the wider population, it's just saying, but there needs, of course, to be a specific focus within that strategy on children and young people.
Okay. Just let's try have a look at it. We can see what it looks like. You okay? Take your time. You okay? Resilience matter. Sorry, Kerry. No, sorry, Kerry. You'll have to put your hand up, please, and I can get to you because it's very hard to. Do you want to bring Kerry? Sorry, no problem. Okay.
I'm just surprised that nobody has asked where is Sharing the Vision, which is the mental health strategy that we have as a national health strategy that was launched in June 2020 and is meant to run to 2024. And I'm just surprised there's no recommendation asking where that is, why that hasn't been implemented, why that isn't serving, because I think in it there is things about people with addiction and why we aren't asking the government to look at that, to look at why it hasn't been implemented, why it isn't addressing the needs of all the people who took time out of their lives to talk to us, and the families and the communities, and pointed out all the failings.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have something there.
Well, fucking Sagar.
So why can't we ask
Thank
for
you.
that to be implemented and reviewed?
Can I get a show of hands? Are we happy to go with 5.7 as amended by Avrik, but as amended? Show of hands.
She's not happy
please.
at all. Like,
Okay, it's okay. Thank you. 5.8. Department of Health and Education, in conjunction with the HSE, should design and implement a comprehensive school-based drug prevention strategy for both junior and senior cycle students, as well as parents and teachers. This emerged from our prevention. Sorry, table 10. Yeah, thank you.
So-
All right, Ray, come to you next.
So our table has suggested to include drug prevention strategy education, not just in junior and senior cycles, but the wider community. I don't think it's sufficient to reach any underprivileged kids that don't go or drop out of school early. That they're the most vulnerable and they need to be reached as well.
And that did come up in our discussions as well, to students and wider community. So after students, we'll say and the wider community. Sorry, Marie, table 11.
I'd like to add, it's been my hot topic since the beginning, utilising external experts to deliver to classroom, backed up by teachers, with regular updating by the experts to schools as needs arise. Thank you.
Thank you, Marie.
Who are these
Would you be
experts?
happy
Mary
with that in
Cannon
the
and Bobby
narrative?
Smith? Is it?
Okay.
Probably is. Definitely wouldn't be me anyway.
So utilising external experts in conjunction with teachers.
Alex's Adventure would be a very good expert as well, though. They do a good service.
I think
That's Nicole
there
Ryan's.
was some debate and discussion at the prevention session about the validity of using external experts as the primary source of prevention education. And I think one of the points that Professor Eamon Keenan, I recall, made was that the involvement of external experts is very helpful for supporting and educating parents, but that the delivery, and perhaps I know, forgive me for calling him in, but Brian Galvin might be able to clarify some of this as well, that there's an argument that the delivery of prevention models within the school should be best done by trained teachers.
And just while we're getting the mic to mine, sorry, Mary, you go ahead, my friend, then we'll bring Brian in a second.
I'd like to respond to that, thank you. Yes, I was at that meeting, and yes, that point was put forward. However, there's a belief that young people pay better attention when there's a new model in front of them. So the experts come in, they're only coming to deliver, they're also empowering the teachers in the subject matter, and they're updating the teachers in the subject matter as the drugs progress in Ireland. The problem progresses and new drugs are filtered in. If we are to rely on teachers and schools to keep themselves updated and to deliver a model that is continuous across all schools and can be absorbed by children in the same fashion in every school, we need a hit team, in my opinion. Thanks very much.
And sorry, we'll just call Brian, if he has a mic. Has it Brian?
Yeah.
You can stand.
Okay, let's try to fire here a little bit. I think Eamon's point, and Richie and Karen that morning at the last meeting, I think they have studied prevention science quite a lot, and Gregor from the MCDA, and I think there is very clear evidence that there is very little value in bringing external people into schools to speak to students. Just to let me finish, I'm not trying to knock down your point. I think we need, there is a good program in SPHE, a really good program. It's very effective, a effective model. It's not been implemented as well as it should. Bringing in additional people will not make it a better model. And I think Carl's point about bringing experts in to speak to parents and empowering parents to be able to speak to their own students is very valuable. But there is not evidence that bringing ad hoc, experts in is going to make any difference.
Okay. Ray, I'll bring you back in just 2 minutes, right? Just maybe John first, Zin. I will let you back in, Ray. Just one second.
Junior cycle, does that mean sort of year 1 to year 3 at secondary school?
Yes.
Why don't we have the same thing at national school level or something similar for maybe class 5 and 6? Because that's where the real issues start to happen.
We have seen so.
No, he's saying senior cycle in primary school, so 5th and 6th class. So, yeah, we could certainly add that in and say age-appropriate programs for primary school and then junior and senior cycle in secondary school.
Okay, Noel, just and then I go to Zin and then back to Marie.
Brian, thanks for your input. I have anecdotal evidence myself from my own daughter to the opposite of what you said. There was a week where they had a session on drugs, and I asked her about it, and she said, well, it was just another class. The following week, they had a session on mental health, and they had a person come in, and she said everybody was riveted. That stuck with them because it was authentic, delivered authentically. And I think it's placing a very high expectation on teachers to fulfill that authentic role.
Okay. And I am very conscious on the day there was a strong feeling amongst the floor, notwithstanding some of the experts said, strong feeling on the floor on this one. Zin?
Yes, sorry, I would like to second that external board and having a third party involved in the school, and it may also affect on supervised teachers and prevents them from discriminating students, especially early age students, and prevents the early age dropping rate.
Okay, thank you, Zin.
Could I just suggest that the solution here might be to recognise that this isn't an either-or, and that what we're talking about here is probably, if we're to go to the kind of evidence-based information we got from the EMCDDA, is that there should be a comprehensive school-based drug prevention strategy for primary school and junior and senior cycle secondary students and the wider community, delivered by trained teachers, supplemented by external inputs as appropriate.
Murray, I said I'd let you back. I will, promise.
Thank you, Cathal. You're nearly across the line.
Okay.
I'm going to stand firm on it. We have to reverse it. We have to use the experts. Mo Moland, who's a woman I really, really appreciated what she did in Ireland for our country, wrote a book called Momentum. The last third of her book references drug and drug addiction and drug problems. She traveled the world. She specifically states in her book that using the teacher in the classroom that children are looking at every day, my parents were both teachers, doesn't deliver the message. You need the experts first. And of course you want the teachers to become experts, but you need the experts to deliver and the experts to update. Thanks very much, and I hope you'll vote with me.
Very clear and very passionately delivered. Okay, I'm going to go to table 8 first and then table 12.
I would recommend, as an ex-teacher, that not alone should parents be included, but they should be included alongside their daughters or sons. As teenagers, certainly at second level, I think any delivery of information that involves parents should also involve the student, the person who it's been directed at. So I would say that instead of having a parents' information night and students' information in the school day, that doesn't work because they have two different deliveries. It would be far more appropriate if they both were in attendance at the same talk.
Okay. I'd suggest we might capture that in the narrative, if you're good. That's kind of process how we deliver it, if that's okay. Okay. Table 12. And then
still have a quarter at school.
Just a handy one. Parents, could we change it to parents / guardians?
Nice catch.
Of course.
Did pass the nod around the room, yeah.
We're just trying to capture everything, and we'll come back to Marie. Maura, sorry, table 7.
I was just wondering, could we put in, maybe in the narrative, appropriate peer participation in the delivery of this programme to enhance its effectiveness? It just came to me, my son does some coaching with teams, with his own children and that, and a group of others. And he told me, just remarked to me, that when the parents or the coaches are speaking to the youngsters, you know, they're half listening and they're nearly finished. But if an older peer comes up and is giving them advice, you could hear a pin drop. So often, you know, at that age, I think peers can have a big influence on each other, and good role models can do a lot of good. So maybe in the narrative, some reference could be made to that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Peers and role models.
There you go.
Okay. Can I just go back to it and make sure that we get Cathal across the line for Marie there? Just go back to the main wording, if we can, when you're ready, Cathal.
So these are the two outstanding issues to decide if we want to include reference to the role of the different roles of experts and teachers. And the proposal there to include parents, guardians and young people in joint sessions. So it's detail that can be included if we want to lengthen the length of what's already a quite wordy recommendation, or we can bring it down into the body of the narrative.
I think the final two, from what I remember, the proposers were happy with going to the narrative, which was, you know, the process, how it would be delivered with the parents and the child, or guardian, whatever. I think that was happy to go in the narrative, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll just highlight that, and I'll edit it after we take the big decision, just to turn it into a
We
coherent
can just stick
sentence.
stick with the top one if we're okay.
Yeah. So,
Marie, are we getting a nod yet?
You just ask Marie for a nudge.
well, this is
You
where I
said
need
nod.
to work it in now, Marie. You might help me here. So,
Get that nudge there, Marie.
the programs, the strategy.
Like they're all talking about funding here, guys. They just took 1.5 billion off our health budget. Just in the recent budget, they took 30 million off the Justice fucking Department's budget, and now we just end up with them calling, "Oh yeah, they need more money," but like, come on.
Does that capture it? No.
Not quite.
Okay. Work with me.
You
Work
call
with me.
it out, please.
I,
Marie.
I wrote down this morning, utilising external experts to deliver to classroom, backed up by teachers, with regular updates by the
Spot on, Neil
experts
Crowe.
to the schools as the need arises.
My typing skills are not quite that good. So, would you go through it once more with me, Marie? And I'll
Certainly.
Utilising external experts.
Yes, to deliver to classroom.
You said backed up by teachers, didn't you?
Yes, backed up by teachers
What's happened, Dave?
with regular updating by the experts to the schools. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Just can't forget this is only one part of democracy,
Table
guys.
7.
We still have the power of protest after this. Like. And let's not forget,
Again,
vote 1, 85% against the status quo.
Hi, thank you. With respect, I used to teach SPHE, and experts would be brought into schools occasionally, so it's probably already in the system. And to regular updating, yes, I agree that it should be included here, but that also should be included, and I know it's not here now, but when we get onto a big public health campaign and ongoing education. But as I say, in my experience, most schools already include a visit from an expert, whereas the teachers handle the main part of the subject. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to take one more, and we're going to taste this. Zin.
Chilbert, they didn't, but I wish they had
Well,
somebody
just
like
in my
Carl Hart
opinion,
speak to 'em.
people have different views on this recommendation. I suggest to separate them to different recommendations, and so people can vote on their opinions. Thanks.
I'm not sure there's different opinions. I don't think there's two different opinions on it, actually, in fairness. I think there's reasonable consensus in the room that needs to be strengthened by external experts. Table number 14, so Zin, I don't agree that there's... Yeah, we'll test it in a minute.
Hi, I just wondering, I see experts up there a lot. Does that include people with lived experience? Or is that just like, you know, shrinks or, you know, addiction counsellors or...
You mean the word expert? Does it include...
Yeah, you know, people with lived experience. You know, to me, they'd be fairly expert.
Yeah, and I think, in fact, some of the evidence from the EMCDDA was that would distinguish between people who have, as you said, expertise in relation to the let's call it the biopsychosocial nature of drug addiction on the one hand, and people with lived experience. They're two very different types of expertise. Yes, they're both experts in certain domains, but they're quite distinct. If I'm not mistaken, I think Marie's use of the word expert is more around people with understanding and expertise
True,
around
Scotland.
biopsychosocial
Very
dimensions of addiction and
We can refer to it as expertise, which is a bit broader. Is that okay?
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So, Dolores, and I'm going to try...
I'd agree with you there as well,
Table
Dave.
4, please. Table 4, please.
That is what it is, cannabis.
Thank you.
Marijuana.
Sorry, just a small point. I think it should be the teachers are backed up by the experts rather than the experts backed up by the teachers, because they're the main person in the classroom.
Okay.
Well, the students, obviously, but, you know, the teacher.
Don't smoke crack. It's
I think
much better
we're getting to a
crack.
level of detail that might... Teachers backed up by experts, which Marie is looking at me angry. Well, not angrily, but...
I mean, it's
Okay.
use of the word backup when, you know, each has a distinct and each has a vital role in the process. Like, if I take out the phrase backup...
Support it. Yeah.
What about
Supporting
prevention
teachers.
programs to utilise external experts and
Supporting teachers. Supporting teachers. Yeah.
Okay.
That's not saying who's...
You
Okay,
got my
can I have show of
vote,
hands if we're happy with this go to ballot, please? Okay, we will go with that. Thank you, Marie. and
They all
everybody
voted
else.
there for changing the name of cannabis to
5.9.
Jazz Cabbage.
The Department of Health should roll out a national public health communication strategy with a focus on preventing drug use, reducing the risks of harmful drug use. We said drug use twice. Making services accessible and reducing the shaming and stigmatisation of people who use drugs. Any proposed change? Table 6.
Yeah, Table 6 felt they didn't like the use of drug use twice in the sentence.
As I
And
read it, yeah.
It was just some of the wording like communication strategy. So we rewrote it to Department of Health should roll out a national public health information campaign focusing on prevention, risk mitigation, advertising services, reducing shame and stigmatization of people who use drugs.
You can't do that when you're
Okay.
still criminalising them
We
and
just-
treating them like
Maybe,
addicts.
have you got that written out, Adrian?
Yeah.
Just it's easier.
That's stigmatising to an individual. Or you use cannabis, you're an addict. That's simply what we're doing now today.
Thank you.
Do
Thank
know?
you.
You've taken some magic mushrooms, oh, you're an addict.
Just give us one moment,
No,
please.
because if you get caught with them,
Just
that's
one- I will
exactly
go
what's
table
going to
10,
happen.
Just 1 minute.
You'll be sent to the drug courts, seen as a health problem. You know, don't engage with the administrative process. Grand. Fine, conviction, jail. That's kind of what we have now at the moment. Like, you know, it's just a bit more emphasis there on that the health diversion. Like, but like you get caught with a 50 bag, guys. Like, you're after doing your week's work. It's Friday. Do you really need a health diversion? Fuck no. Does the health service need you as a burden on them? No, it doesn't. I sadly had to fucking deal a lot with some of the services.
Proposed new wording.
Okay, table
They are
7,
overburdened,
please.
under-resourced, and now we're just going to pile this BS on top of them now again.
Thank you. The Department of Health should roll out regular
Yeah,
national
should work.
public health information campaigns. So it's an ongoing.
Okay.
Tripping.
Okay. Where are we? Sorry, Elaine. 10. 10 was in, please.
So we suggest on the explanatory narrative, because reducing the shame and destigmatization and discrimination is the change of the social norm. That is hard to implement without the law enforcement. So we suggest to add the law enforcement to protect the people who use drugs or a certain marginalized group and prevent them from being discriminated.
Okay, in the narrative. Okay, can I have a quick show of hands if we're okay with 5.9 to go to vote, ballot? Okay, agreed. We will put that to ballot now. And we need to obviously up these. Jack, table 2, quick one.
It has, but this is an incredibly watered-down health-led approach, Pods.
I think that the last point there in the header, reducing shame and stigmatization of people who use drugs, I think that should be, in terms of like the list that's given, I feel like that should be at the top of the list rather than at the bottom, as I think it's possibly like, you know, in terms of like, you know, like, you know, just
It's
a
the
new
most important
inertia
thing for-
of
yeah.
innovation. I feel like it's important that that's like the first one there.
Good man, Jack. I like that.
Okay, we've reversed it around. Okay, I'm going to put that one to ballot now, which is 5.9. Now, we now have a few procedural things to just revert back on while we recraft that ballot paper for voting at table number 5. I think we have, Karen, can I check? We have production results on ballot 3. It's not ready. You have, do you want to do that? We did call out this yesterday, but do you have it on slide?
No, it's not even copying the Portuguese model.
Okay,
Gilbert.
yeah, we'll wait till we do the amended 3.6 and we'll have, have
Seems
ballot
to be
paper on number 3.
incredibly watered down.
Okay, sorry, we have that one on accountability, which was 3.6. We're going to distribute that now for balloting to the tables. If we can turn that around fairly quickly, and then we'll do them all. Sorry? Oh, Jesse and Marcus, can I again please call on you? Can we get the boxes? Oh, thanks, yeah.
Yeah, Kieran, they didn't
Sorry,
even
Jesse, we
get the
got-
hybrid model in the end. They voted for it, and then in the end, they actually ended up with the comprehensive
They're doing
health-led
3.6
approach.
now. Yeah.
Because of how the wording
right?
was.
Yeah.
The
How
citizens
we
were
doing?
tricked. They were hoodwinked. They really were. There was no other way of saying it. Like the way in which the voting went yesterday, it seemed there was a unanimous result in rejection of the status quo. But then unknowingly to the citizens who were voting on it, they had the status quo there, which, like, yeah, it's the status quo. There was no denying what that was. But then there was two other options there that were the status quo 2.0, as I would put them. Health diversion, which is like, what's health diversion? Like, come on. Well, like, I know they have a definition there for it and they have an explanation, but basically it's the status quo just dressed up differently, you know? That's all it is. It's still the fucking status quo. They just dressed it up differently and called it something else. Then you get the comprehensive health-led approach. It's like, what is that? Oh, yeah, that's actually the status quo 2.0. Just dressed it up differently, guys. We just put, like somebody said it there yesterday, a few extra bells and whistles on it, and we called it something different. It's like, you know, like, seriously. Oh, it's absolutely just ridiculous. And I can't believe nobody has really called it out there. Or there hasn't been kind of a bit of a fuss kicked up there about the votes from yesterday. But I don't know, I think there's going to be a bit of a session there after all of this in feedback, I think, from the citizens for the Assembly. I think that's a part of this in a bit of a while. So maybe at that point they might kick up a bit of a kind of something about it there. But we can only be hopeful. But, like, nothing's changed, you guys, honestly. Like, one good thing, as I was saying earlier, that we got from this is that 85% rejected the status quo. Now, going forward, we're going to end up with what is pretty much the status quo. And we as campaigners, we have to make sure that we just use that. Look, come here, the very first vote where there was no real confusion, they voted overwhelmingly against the status quo. And then even on the next vote, they wanted a hybrid model approach where they treated the drugs differently. And then in the end, they ended up treating them all the fucking same because of how the wording, how the options were presented to them. There's no other way of looking at it. It was because of how the options were presented to them that the results went the way they were. And the results went in favour of the current status quo. It does. Like, you look at it, like, what have we got? We just got more funding for the people who are currently in charge of all of it. Like, there's nothing has actually truly changed. Like, they're even calling there now for the establishment of local CABs. So they want more policing for us. Madness, like. They should all eat hash cookies. See how nice.
Okay, just a reminder, if you can, please cast your ballot, yellow ballot paper, one ballot per person.
No, Spirit, Dave, like, that's the unfortunate thing. Like, they won't be stopping searching teenagers' pockets. You know? Like, I remember as a teenager, you know, you getting some drink from somebody, and, like, if you got caught with that drink, you got brought home to your parents. And they dealt with it. Like, there was no criminal things. Like, as long as you weren't drunk and breaking windows, like, obviously that shit's criminal. But, like, you weren't treated like a criminal because they caught you with a bag of cans underage.
And we'll have 3 and 4.
Like I've already said, even as parents, you can allow your kids to drink in your presence in the privacy of your own home, and that's okay under Irish law. Like, that's insane that that's okay under Irish law, but it is because they respect.
Okay, can I just ask everybody if you've had a chance to please
you
cast
know?
your vote?
But we can't police our own bodies.
Okay.
They need to do that for us. And then you have young people, like, I remember being a teenager, 16, 17, getting stopped and searched by the cops.
Okay.
Not good. Like, 17 was when I was actually first
Okay,
stopped
can
by the
I
cops.
just please call you all to order? I know everybody's grabbing a cup of tea. Okay, can we just call you all back again, please? What I'm going to propose...
Go for a cup of tea.
Okay, folks, can we get you all back to tables? Jack, are we good to go?
He loves picking on Jack.
Okay, can we get you all back to tables
I'd say
just
he's
to
dying to get Jack out of there.
check where we are in the process?
Putting him under pressure.
We've one ballot paper left to do, which is ballot paper number 6, which I think has 4 sub-recommendations on it. What I'm going to propose for the next 15 minutes is, and then we'll take a formal tea break, next 15 minutes, have a deliberation at your table, consider any proposed change that you want to make. We'll walk through them, and then we'll run through various results that we have to date, including the last one that we just taken there, and reporting on results on 3, 4 overall, and then we'll in tandem be getting the ballot paper for number 5 ready as well. So if you can, take 15 minutes, and then we take a formal tea break at 11:15, just before 11:15, if that's okay. Thank you. Looking at ballot paper number 6 at this stage.
So there's going to be taking a bit of a break to cast their votes, count the votes, and then they'll be back. What did they say? They're taking a formal tea break at, was it 11:15 or 11:15? So I think it's at 11:45. So I think 5 minutes and they should be back there after the count. But yeah, they won't be stop searching teenagers anyway, unfortunately. There's nothing has really changed. How they treat them maybe will be changed a little bit, but still the cops bringing you to like some sort of a judge, forced into drug rehabilitation services, have to do cleaning tests, you know. Big win for those services, I suppose, because they're going to have more customers now, isn't it? They're going to need more funding. Is that what we're hearing now? Like the funding seems to be going to the wrong places. Like from what they got in those lived experience sessions, like some of the places where people were getting the most help, like people had to be ready to go to them. Like, you know, that was something that was reoccurring in it. Those people had to be ready. You know, they had to have hit their bottom, and quite often or not, like been like swept up by the cops and stuff like that. Like it just makes matters worse for you, but it doesn't reach you at your bottom. It doesn't land you at your bottom. Like, you know, it just makes things worse. It puts you into a more dangerous environment. Lets you into prison where the prisons aren't drugs free. You know, you become overly indebted then to the wrong people in prison if you start engaging in drug use, because drugs aren't cheap in prison, and then you come out of prison and now you're their pawn because you owe money and you can't pay them. So you got to do their bidding, hold drugs, you know, maybe even fucking store weapons, and maybe even fucking pull a trigger or two. You know, you just don't know what the likelihood of the outcome is. But this is what we're voting for now again at the moment. Like, more of this. Like if they just supported legalization regulation going forward, got more funding to those services that were actually helping people, I mean, we so much fucking better outcome. Chilbert says, gotta get to at least the Portugal model, or there's no change recommended effectively. Like even the Portuguese model, like, you know, this isn't anything like the Portuguese model from what I can see. Like they're saying here, it says it in the recommendation, option C, drug possession remains illegal. They have not decriminalised. I know Paul Reid was on the news yesterday saying that this is like decriminalise the drug user, but it's not. Like if you read option C, it says possession remains illegal. What they're doing in option C is that they're giving more power to the guards, to the judges. You know, the guards now, apparently, according to this option, will have the power to mandate you into a health intervention. Health intervention. Just put into the perspective, you know, like it's the equivalent of giving the guards the power to go down the road to stop somebody who looks fat to them, you know, who's obese to them, and now they have the power to mandate a health intervention for that individual. Like, who gives them the right? Surely it's that individual's right to be able to decide whether they want a health intervention or not, whether their health has been affected by their condition, you know, being obese, let's say. Because some people are happy being obese. I know many fucking people who are obese and they don't give a shit. Do you know, they're happy out, they don't care that they're at increased risk of heart attacks and depression and all of these kind of things. Man, these people are happy out, like, not all of them, but some of them quite happy out, like, no issues. But I wouldn't want a guard to come along to them and say, you're obese and we have to help mandate you to get down there into the gym 5 days a week, and you have to stay at this camp and eat this food. And, you know, That's what we're effectively doing to drug users. We're mandating the guards to be able to intervene in their health, because we're clearly taking away the right from these people to be able to decide themselves whether they need a health intervention. Like, surely a health intervention is going to be more effective if you as the individual decide you need it, not somebody else, you know? Think about that for a second. Like, the effectiveness of these interventions is going to be so poor because those people are not ready, those people are not choosing, those people quite often are not. People like myself, we won't need it. Like, if I fucking get caught with this, my grinder there with a little bit of ganj inside in it, apparently I'd need a health intervention. Oh, you know? Like, I know somebody out there, we won't say names, but like, the guy is up at the crack of dawn, 5 days a week, showing up for work, slogging hard, like, and doing important work too, like, you know, and it's not easy work either, like, it's fucking complicated what this guy does. And he likes, I think he starts his day with a little talk before he goes to work with his coffee, and on a Friday the crunchy. I think that person, if he's out there, might know who I'm on about now. But he likes to come home and enjoy a spliff then as well after a hard day's work. Like, does that guy need a health intervention? Does that guy's employer need his staff member removed from the workforce while he has to engage in this health intervention? Despite the fact he was showing up fucking Monday to Friday, not 9 to 5. This guy gets out of bed at 6 o'clock in the morning, he's on the fucking road, he's showing up at work at around 7, you know? Because there's a bit of a drive to work. Crazy, like. Yeah, but Teddy knows what I'm on about here now as well. But like, that guy isn't alone in this. Like, so many people out there fit that. Like, I know myself, a couple of years ago, I was slogging away 2 jobs, do you know? Even at a time I was doing a full-time college course and working a second part-time job after that, and providing for my kids, you know, going out there, being there for them, getting them to their fucking extracurriculars and all of that stuff, and being there in my off time to spend time with them. I didn't need a health intervention. The only health intervention I fucking need is from the justice system. That's the only thing that's been impacting on my health. Like, and that's the truth. I've always said it, like, cannabis has never impacted my health negatively in a way in which it's make me want to stop. But by God, the justice system, like, that has put serious pressure on me. Having to take days off of work, losing out on a day's wage, having to pay these fucking, what would you call them? These ransoms, I suppose. They call them donations, you know, but it's effectively, they're extorting you. They're calling for a ransom, you know, they're holding you ransom, you know what I mean? You want to protect your name? You want to get out of here without a criminal conviction? Line our coffers. You know, get your hand in your pocket there, pull out some cash, make a donation. Like, what a fucking joke. 9 times I made that donation, and after that I was like, this is a joke. It's like, I can't keep affording to do this. Like, and what's the outcome of it? Like, they're achieving nothing. I'm not reforming. I didn't need reform. I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was still like an active member of society, if you will, like, contributing positively to society. I was working, paying my taxes, you know, looking after my family, raising my kids. You know, I need a health intervention. Stop. Get off the, like. Oh, there are people saying out there, sorry for ranting, like, but it's got to be done. I think the old caffeine is kicking in. Man, that's it. Superior Dave says there, the worst thing about cannabis is getting caught with it. The fact, like, it really is. Chilbert says, oh yeah, we read that, gotta get leased to the Portuguese model. Paul Lefwick says, steal my pot so I had to buy more. Greedy Porky. That's the thing, you know, the amount of times, like, I've gotten caught with stuff now, I think about 15, 16 times. But like, all it resulted in is just me with anxiety and having to go and buy it again. Like, there's never been a time I got caught with it and it's like, oh geez, I'm giving up now and I'm not going to buy no. Like, that's come off the stage. That doesn't happen. Like, not for everybody. There's probably somebody out there now who gets caught with it. They've got a really good job and they're shitting bricks because they've got a mortgage as well, you know, and if their family. And a really good job could be bringing in fucking, you know what, a 6-figure salary. Let's say that they're breaking the 100K. They don't want to lose that shit. They're going to ship bricks. They're going to do anything. They're going to dance and get in line. They're going to sing the tune that the Pied Piper is playing, as i.e. the judge. They're going to do whatever is needed. You want clean piss test? I'll do it, no problem. I'll pay for drug rehabilitation services too, because this guy's on over 100k. He'll go to the Arbour House or whatever services out there, and he'll pay them. He'll pay these guys. Add to their wages, pay their mortgages for them, all while trying to protect his own ability to pay his mortgage. Terrorizing people. That's effectively what they're doing. They're terrorizing people. Yeah, Neil Crow saying here it's safer to do ecstasy than ride a horse. And what you're alluding to there is Professor David Nutt, who got fired over in the UK for his views and opinions. And he took the view that drugs need to be decriminalised. He classified them in a certain ranking, and cannabis was quite down the list. Alcohol and tobacco was quite high in the list. And in terms of their danger to the public. Yeah, he got fired for his call to decriminalise drugs. But yeah, he said that taking ecstasy is actually safer than riding horses. More people come to injury, harm from riding horses than they do from taking ecstasy, because guess what? Millions of people take ecstasy every year, and millions of people ride horses, and more people get injured riding horses than they do taking fucking ecstasy. Morning, Phil. See Phil is out there. Hey, the name is Joe. Davy Mack. So sad, really. Man, it is. It's fucking depressing. Yeah, I see there. Podge saying, I think the best intervention I had was growing weed. I'd imagine you said, rather than going weed. But yeah, definitely, like growing anything at all is great for your mental health. But if you can grow your own medicine, i.e. cannabis, and if you've got some mental health problems and stuff like that, not only is the cannabis that you're going to harvest going to help you, but the process in growing it is incredibly therapeutic. And growing anything, guys, if you're a gardener out there, you'll agree with me, you know what I'm talking about. Growing anything is incredibly therapeutic. Going out there, weeding your garden and doing all these kind of things, like it's all good for the mind, it's good for the brain. Good for the body. Serenable asking here, how are you getting on with the courts, Martin? Good that you brought that up, actually. December 19th, everyone, I'm back in court. December 19th on appeal for that 2-month prison sentence I got down in Dungarvan for the CBD joint. Remember that? Yeah, we marched into the Dungarvan Garda station there with a CBD joint, and I got a 2-month prison sentence for that protest. So I'll be back up in court then for that. So we'll see what happens for that. Nothing else going out. Well, I'm still waiting on summonses for the plants across the city. I've got no summonses for that yet. I've got no summons for planting cannabis in the garden of the City Hall. I've got no summonses for planting cannabis on the Shannon footbridge. I've got no summonses for bringing cannabis plants into Anglesey Street Garda Station, into the Bridewell Garda Station. So I've a lot of outstanding summonses I'm waiting for, but nothing yet in the pipe. Nothing's come yet. I do have that 2-month prison sentence. As I said, I'm waiting on the appeal for that to come up now the 19th of December, 6 days before Christmas, guys. Christmas week. They're bringing me to court for an appeal of a 2-month prison sentence. Oh, God. Like, I don't want to go to prison, but by God, like, would they not be shooting themselves in the foot if they were to put me into prison 6 days before Christmas? Like, a father of 4 kids, like, who are they protecting putting me into prison? What am I doing wrong that society needs me to be removed from it? Seriously, justify it. Come on, please, somebody justify it, because I see no justification for it. But by God, am I prepared to do it? Like, if they want to send me to prison, I'll fucking go. I'll hold my head held high, and I'll protest the entirety of it. I will. I won't be taking it lightly anyway. But I'll hold my head held high through the entirety of it, because I'll have done nothing wrong, and it'll be them who have done the wrong thing. We've heard so much here throughout the Citizens' Assembly as to the harms that befall drug users. We heard very little as to the harms that actually come from the prohibition. I think there was 1 or 2 people talked about it. There was a lady, and I'm going to have her on the podcast actually in the not too distant future. Sharon Connors, I believe was her surname. But she presented to the assembly at one point, and she called the Gardaí nothing but a gang. They're a gang that wear the same uniform. And I would agree with her, you know, as a person who's been on the receiving end of that, and I think there's other people out there in the audience here who've been on the receiving end of how the Guard treat people. You know, I think was it Dave mentioned it earlier, stopping and searching teenagers. You feel like you're being targeted by gang members, like, because you're so powerless to do anything against them. You know, you fight them back, they've got all the power. They've got all the power. You've got none. So that's an incredibly powerful gang to have out there hunting you. What's that? 8% extract of THC. Did you hear about that? You can buy it. Nope. Superior Dave says paracetamol is more dangerous than cannabis. Truth. Roving Reporter says footnote reads jazz cannabis smoking plastic junkies don't deserve to be a part of society. Yeah. I really don't like that junkie word, but yeah, I that's kind of how it feels like in this. Like they're just treating us like, you know, we're nothing but trash. That we can't choose for ourselves. That they need to have power over us because we can't choose for ourselves. That we're trash in society. But yeah. Sir Annabelle says 2 months flip's sake. What a joke! They're a joke. December 19th, just before Christmas. Them assholes. Yeah. Ridiculous. Soul Rebel says, work hard to buy medical cannabis. Better lay up, grow up my own. Be better off. Yeah. Guys, anybody out there, if you've got the space, don't be afraid to grow your own. Don't leave yourselves at the mercy of some of these dealers out there and some of the rip-off prices that are there. Not all dealers have rip-off prices. Not all dealers are fucking scumbags. But yeah, there's definitely some out there who take advantage of people, rip people off. There was a guy who got in touch with us there only last week. He reached out to the Martin's World Hotbox. Fucking, I believe he's a student above in Dublin. An exchange student, like, so he's obviously not local to Ireland. And he got ripped off for, like, I don't know, it was a €50 or €100. Thought he was going to be buying a bag of weed and got nothing. So, yeah, we were able to put him into a bit of a safer space, point him in the direction of safer vendors. And he got looked after, like, but that's harm reduction in action. That's peers looking after each other. That's us providing fucking health interventions for one another, for people who need it, like, because there's no, like, if you're to get robbed, like, that's going to do damage to your mental health, like, it's going to do damage to your ability to trust individuals. So we you know, as a community are providing health interventions for one another by, you know, putting people in safer places, pointing them in directions of more reputable suppliers. But guys, if you have the ability to grow your own, 100% do it. Do it. Like, honestly, I can't say it enough, like, that the grow your own is yeah, the risk of getting caught, guys. Get a nice little tent, get it like a good tent with some good fans and a good carbon filter, and the risk of odor is practically nil. You know, the only time you're going to get a smell coming out of your tent is going to be when you open the tent to, like, do a bit of watering, or when you're doing the harvesting as well. But any other time, like, the risk of smell is pretty fucking low if you've got good ventilation, good tent. Don't tell anybody that you're doing it, you know. Loose lips, sink ships, you know, keep your circle fucking tight, keep it small. That again in itself, you know, that can be detrimental to your own mental health, you know, because you have to be secretive, you have to be worried. You're like, oh shit, do they know? Or are they going to rat me? Oh no. Like, that is a pain. That is something that comes with it. Like, so, like, just be aware of that. But honestly, the reward at the end, like, if you can overcome just that little bit of anxiety, if you're able to deal with that, the reward is just so great. So grow your own, guys. Get out there. There's some great shops out there providing equipment to the Irish growers. Shop local, guys. Hands up and say they're only flowers. Neil Crow saying, I want to live in a world where cannabis dealers are called medical florists. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, you know, like a cannabis dispensary, you know, what was somebody called them cannabis consultants. Cannabis consultant. I'd like to buy my cannabis from a cannabis consultant, somebody I can go to and consult about my purchase of cannabis, you know, about what I would like to get from my cannabis, and then to be directed towards which cannabis is going to be best to achieve that goal, you know? That's who you want to be buying your cannabis from. Not some fucking young fella, and he's like, do you want it or not, kid? Mr. Wes says, Martin, encouraging words got me to start growing years ago, no regrets. Well, Mr. Wes, I'm delighted that I did, man, because you are one talented individual. Honestly, like the flowers that I've experienced from yourself, man, have been primo, man. Or as Bobby like to say, man, you can grow some big donkey dicks with buds, but don't ya? Not only the big donkey dicks, but they're tasty donkey dicks. That right, Mr. Finnegan? All right, sorry lads, we lay off the bestiality there for a bit. Superior Dave says, you'll be in less danger growing your own. Only time I ever got in trouble was going to dealers or hanging around sketchy areas. You're spot on. That's very important thing to bring up, you know. I know a lot of people will probably get stuff posted to them, you know, and it's the postman delivering it. But you're dead right. Like the few times I got stopped and searched is because the person I was hanging out with, my cousin, his dad was like dealing hash, so they targeted us because of that. Like, you know, that was the only reason. Like we kind of got targeted a little bit at that age. Another time I got stopped and searched was because I unknowingly actually parked my car while I was working outside a drug dealer's house. And that warranted the cops coming and searching me. Because I was delivering Chinese at the time. You know, and I had the Chinese bag on the car seat next to me when the cops pulled up and they're like, what are you doing here? And I was like, delivering Chinese. Or I was actually running into the shop and I was working for the Chinese that I was just leaving. And they searched my car and were telling me then afterwards, fucking, yeah, that's a drug dealer's house there. That's why we searched you. Rashers here, pure bullied by DS one day. I was being booked in after pull down station for a search. DS pulled out his sidearm, said, you know what I want to do with this, as he stared me down at 15 years old. What the hell, man? Like, these are the kind of scumbags that put on the uniform. And I know some people compare them to dudes who have been bullied as kids, and then they want to do the bullying, so they become a guard, and they want to fucking, you know, be the bully. I'd agree with that, though. I've kind of felt that intimidation from him as well, you know, that it's like, I've done nothing wrong to you. What's this fucking, like, animosity towards me for? Like, you just caught me with a bag of weed. Chill out, boy. I've done nothing wrong. It's not as if you caught me with, like, some fucking child abuse images. You caught me with a bag of weed. Calm down, lad. Shouldn't be allowed to have a gun with that mentality, says B. Mooney. Shouldn't be allowed to fucking have a badge or a uniform, that kind of mentality, but unfortunately that's the kind of people that seems to attract at times. Oh, Teddy's Farm as well there, guys. If you do decide to grow your own, he's giving out his discount code, guys, for the Navan Grow Shop. Teddy15, 15% off, guys, so Teddy15. That's a handy one, you know, if you're spending $100 there, that's 15 off 85. Happy days. I think you get a nice tent there, a 90 by 90 for about $100. I think they have nice starter grow kits there for about $250. Lights, fans, carbon filter, tent, maybe about $300 even with the pots and soil and the whole lot. Like 15% off that. That's $45. Woo! Off 300, that is, you know.
Yeah. Okay, ballot number 5 is open.
So Teddy15,
It's open,
guys.
yeah.
Navan Grow Shop. Grow your own,
Ballot
guys.
paper number 5, if you want to complete your ballot, and the boxes are now open.
And come here, grab your parachutes. A lot of the times when those cops do the raiding, it's because, you know, they've been told from higher up, you have to raid this gaff. You know, we got information. Their neighbour smelt weed and ratted on him or something. You know, or some guy got caught with a 50 bag, knew his buddy was growing and fucking ratted on him to get off with it. You know, this is the nasty shit we do to people. And then you turn friends against one another. You make somebody rat on one of their buddies because he wants to get off with the crime and he knows his buddy is doing a little bit of grown and he rats on him, you know? But a lot of the times those cops, they don't even want to do it. Like, I met so many cops now over the last couple of years who said it to me. We're behind what you're doing. Like, you know, we don't support what you do, but we achieve where you want to, what you're doing and where you want to bring it, like, you know? What you're trying to achieve. They support what I'm trying to achieve. That's what I'm trying to say, yeah. But they didn't, like, yeah, they weren't condoning what I was doing, but they supported what I was trying to achieve, i.e., ending prohibition. They say it themselves, the pointless task. It just makes their job fucking more difficult. Rasha says, what about the people in the sketchy areas but have to deal with the constant intimidation? Yeah, you're spot on, man. You're spot on. Like that's kind of what we were dealing with as well growing up. Obviously, been living over in the Glen, there's a couple of more drug dealers in that area, and up around Mayfield as well, I suppose, being another, and Knocknaheeny be probably another. Because I know when I moved to Ballivlan, you don't see the guards up around Ballivlan as much as you would see them patrolling up around, like, say, the Glen, Mayfield and stuff like that. You see them rolling through there more, stopping and searching people more up around those areas. But yeah, it's certainly not the crime of the century anyway, grab your parachutes. And a lot of the cops would agree with you on that. Yeah, sorry, guy got caught with coke, ratted. He was sorry after. You see, that's the unfortunate thing then, you know, some guy gets caught with coke, rats on somebody then figures out, hey, he got caught with coke and he didn't even go to court or nothing like that, like, you know. They didn't do anything and your man gets his legs broke. Like, we can't have this shit. Like, you know, we do need a zero tolerance to fucking violence in our society, but having prohibition there, it only perpetuates it. Like, it only increases the likelihood of violence happening in those kind of situations. And the Gardaí are making life difficult, or putting an individual, a vulnerable individual, into a very dangerous situation. Like, imagine if I was a young person when I got caught by the cops and I was pressured, you know, you help us and we'll help you is exactly what they say. I bet you there's people out there who will say that's what they said to us as well. You know, if you help us, we'll help you. And that's what they fucking said. And imagine if I helped them. Imagine the guys I ratted got wind of me helping, you know, the guards and resulting in a successful raid. I could be dead in a ditch somewhere if I was to do that, you know? If I was to do it to the wrong person. Crazy, like. Superior Dave says, I'd agree with you there. They were bullied, so now they're bullying logic. I know 2 guys went on to be Garda. Both were massive cowards when I knew them. The types to cry rather than fight back. One of these guys bullied his own brother for years because he was smaller. Sorry, just reading through some of your comments here in the hot box. The roving reporter says, smash that like button like the CA smashed your hopes of change. Shouldn't be laughed because it's not funny, because I suppose it's funny because it's true in a way, like, but it's fucking just the...
Okay, can I just make a final call to everybody? Have you please posted your ballot paper number 5? We'll close the ballot in just a couple of moments.
Rats have had Uzis or worse. Underestimations is dangerous and families sometimes stumble into. And that's the thing, like, you can't help it. Like, potentially family members are going to get caught in the crossfire. You get some young fella ratting the wrong person, and next, you know, they come down, kick in the door, if I can go up into the room and want to smash up your man. But, like, his dad tries to protect him, and the dad gets busted up as well in the process. Maybe his brother, his younger siblings are there and witness this happening. Like, jeez.
Final call on ballot papers number 5. Anybody not post their ballots number 5? If you can, please.
Anything but comprehensive health led this is going to be.
No problem. No problem. No problem.
Yeah. Manfall says, I haven't kept up too well with the Citizen Assembly. How's it going so far, Martin? Look, one good thing to take away from it, we got an 85% result there against the status quo. So the people voted for change in the very first vote, but then ultimately they ended up voting for the status quo afterwards. Sorry, Paul, bye, jeez.
Good man.
No bother, bye. But I'll explain to him there now, eh? Tell him to hurry up. Hang on. Maybe give me no warning, bye. But yeah, they've ended up voting for a comprehensive health-led approach, but effectively it's the status quo just dressed up differently. You know, it's the status quo just called something different. So not a whole lot has changed, but we did get one good thing: 85% against the status quo, and then tricked afterwards into voting for what is effectively the status quo. So we have something, but we've got nothing really.
Just a couple of minutes. Can I just 100% check if everybody has used their ballot? Who wants to use their ballot? Number 5.
Fear of like just being entirely depressed. Like I'm going to look for some silver lining in this dark cloud. You know, and that's saying, you know, every cloud has a silver lining. That's my silver lining. 85% against the status quo. It's the only thing I've been able to take away from it so far. The earlier sessions as well had some great presentations made, some great points brought up, some great arguments there to end prohibition. So we can't lose sight of those great contributions that were made throughout this process as well. But ultimately, the end result hasn't been what we desired it to be, which was change. Effectively, we've got no change. Maeve O'Brien says, your cannabis consultant experience is exactly what it's like in New York dispensaries. Super detailed menus with expert bud tenders who will point you in the right direction with no anxiety involved. It's just what patients need. A wide variety of cannabis on a menu, because again, not all cannabis works in the same way, and patients with different conditions will respond differently to different cannabis strains. So having that's bud tender, expert bud tender, a cannabis consultant is exactly what is needed for a patient. And unfortunately, here in Ireland, patients just don't have that. They have to do a bit of research themselves online to choose the right strain if they're going to grow it themselves. If they're lucky enough to go down that road. Otherwise, they're stuck with the kind of the situation where it's, do you want it or not?
One person still outside
That's the information they got. Like I was joking yesterday about how over in places like New York now, with like these Boveda packs, Integra packs, like, you know, with moisture controls, that people can now choose, like the get cannabis that's like stored at a 56% moisture, humidity,
Table 14,
58%, 60, 60. Like, we're getting to the level of like the cigar humidors now, like, you know? And that's kind of what you want, like, because some people might like a really dry cannabis flower, and some people might like it a little bit more fluffier, because the two actually do burn a little bit differently. If you have a really dry cannabis, that'll burn a little bit more of a higher temperature than cannabis that has a little bit more moisture to it. And I'm not saying damp, but like in terms of its storage.
Okay, you know? Can I all call everybody to your seats, please?
Out there, you know what I'm
Everybody to
talking
seats,
about.
please.
You know what it's like to have
Lana,
dry,
Rebecca.
crisp cannabis that will crumble between your fingers.
Yep.
And then stuff that grinds up
Everybody,
really nicely in the grinder, gives you a nice fluffiness, and you roll it and it's lovely.
Okay, we just have
I
one
hate
person
rolling
to vote.
really
Have
dry
we got-
cannabis, actually. Like, you know, it gets really dusty, and like,
Come on, Paddy.
you almost want the proper filter at that
Sorry,
point, 'cause
I
a load
just
of
want
it's
a
going to
Paddy
fly
vote,
through your
and then we're
roach.
going to close that ballot box, let you guys get out of the way.
Ah.
You got it. We just let Paddy vote. The walk of shame now.
You're
Paddy,
dead
all
right, grab your
well.
parachutes, you know. They should have, because effectively those health diversion and the health diversion and the comprehensive health led, they were effectively the status quo anyway. Ridiculous. Yay. Last one.
Okay, I'm going to call on Kieran now, please, to present the results of ballot papers number 3 and ballot papers number 4.
Okay, this is ballot paper number 3, including question 3.6, which we voted on just this morning. The rest of it was voted on yesterday. Question 3.1 is for greater political priority and prominence for drugs policy and related issues. There was 86 votes, of which 81 agreed, 3 disagreed, and there were 2 invalid.
Massive agrees. Everything just got through.
For question 3.2, the state should take urgent, decisive and ambitious action to improve its response to the harmful impact of drugs use. 83 people were in agreement, 2 disagreed and 1 invalid vote. Question 3.3 was on drugs misuse as a policy priority.
What are these invalid votes about? How are people invalidating their votes? Like,
Agree
come
with
on.
that.
What's
5
going on?
disagree and 2 invalid votes.
Are they saying fuck you on the ballot or
Question
something?
3.4
Right,
is
legalise
on
weed.
whole of government policy coherence, operational cohesion and effective leadership. 83 people were in agreement with the resolution, 1 disagreed,
Still Sean
1
Cox on
don't
the
know,
ballots.
and 1 spoiled. Question 3.5 was was to state that the new national drugs strategy should be published as a matter of urgency. 82 people agree, 1 disagrees, 2 don't know, and 1 spoiled. Question 3.6 we took this morning, so there's only 85 votes cast on this one, unlike the rest of them. This was on the government must assign accountability at the highest level related to the state's response to problematic
Don't know
drug
should be
use,
an option
including
either,
the
really,
implementation
should it?
and tracking of the progress of the Citizens' Assembly. 81 people agree, 3 disagree, and 1 spoiled vote. Question
Morning,
3.7
Amy.
was calling for stakeholder involvement in
They're
national
basically
drugs
voting on the
strategy.
report here.
77 people agreed, 4 disagreed, 2 don't know, and 3 spoiled.
There's been no fuss kicked up over yesterday at all yet.
Question 3.8 is to
Hopefully in oil,
prioritise
maybe.
vulnerable and marginalised groups and disadvantaged communities. And that one, 74 agree, 7 disagree, 3 don't know, and 2 spoiled. 3.9 is drugs policy design and implementation should be informed by service users and people who use drugs, as well as family members of people affected by drugs, with provision of appropriate supports to enable this involvement. On that one, 73 people agree, 7 disagree, 3 don't know, and 3 spoiled. And finally, 3.10,
No re-vote.
the government should work with key stakeholders to build an effective whole-of-society response to drugs-related issues. 77 votes in agreement, 5 disagree, 1 don't know, and 3 invalid votes. Okay, we'll move straight on to ballot paper 4, which is the one you voted on just before we closed business yesterday evening. And on this one, we had 85 votes cast for all questions. Question 4.1, additional funding to services across the statutory, community and voluntary sectors. That had 82 people in agreement, 1 disagree and 1 invalid votes. 4.2, the government should allocate additional resources to fund community-based and residential treatment and recovery services as an alternative to custodial sentences for people with problematic drug use. That's 78 people agree, 5 disagree, 1 don't know, and 1 spoiled. Question 4.3 was on the use of novel funding sources.
Just turn this down a second there. Sorry if it's important, G, but Ted was saying anyone up for a smoke up today. And this got me thinking, I was just kind of like, what would be a good time to organise a bit of a protest after this result? Because the cannabis legalisation one was so close. But guys, do you know what's coming up very soon? Do you know what's coming up very soon? And I just noticed it. The 10-year anniversary of Luke Ming Flanagan's bill to legalise cannabis in Ireland. That's going to be 10 years now on the 6th of November, I believe. I think that was voted on Wednesday, the 6th of November, 2013. Let's do something then, guys. I'm just throwing it out there now, guys. Cran, Cannabis Activist Alliance Ireland, everybody out there watching, Wednesday, 6th of November. Or sorry, the 6th of November. I don't know if it's a Wednesday this year. What day is it this year? Let's have a quick look. It's a Monday. It's a Monday. Up outside of Dáil, I would say, would be probably the best thing. What would you think, guys? Just throwing it out there as a thing, you know? I'll turn this back up. Sorry for turning that down on you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, clear results on ballot 3 and ballot
So
4.
Monday the 6th of November,
I'm gonna move
guys.
us swiftly in now to ballot paper number 6, which you have had time to
Cran
deliberate.
CAA, guys,
And
let's
we'll pull up on the
get
screen
our
in
heads
just a
together
moment,
around this.
and we walk through the 4
Because we have
recommendations
to
that are here.
have
Sorry, can I
something
just, we
afterwards.
formally closed ballot paper number 5. I can ask Jesse and Marcus, with Kieran's, take those away.
Patients with
for
safe access
counting,
will be behind
please.
this as well.
Okay, so we have the first one up, which is 6.1, referral of submissions to inform the development of next national drug strategy, and it sets out in the explanatory narrative what we're saying in terms of the related submissions.
Yeah, Endo
Can I
Amy
have a
says she
show
can
of
do
hands
this Sunday.
before- Sorry, Bill, did you want to make a comment?
I know Monday will be a ball for
Sorry, Bill.
people at work, but I think it'd be more effective with the dial actually in session. but
Suggestion just around the wording.
I could see why Sunday might be more favourable to people too.
The first one, 6.1 says referral of submissions to inform the
Sunday's family day for me though.
national drug strategy. So a person who is not attending the assembly might wonder what submissions. So we would suggest submissions received by the Citizens Assembly on drugs should be referred to the Department of Health to inform the development of the next national drug strategy.
Okay.
And following.
And we'll leave next out, just be consistent with everything else.
Although it does have to be the next, you know. Well,
Yeah, okay, just consistent.
And 6.2.
Oh, sorry, we'll take 6.2 in a second, Bill, if that's
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Bill. Jack, Anne, sorry. Table 2. Yeah.
Why was medical cannabis deemed to be outside the Assembly's terms of reference, given that 47 people within the state are being treated with this medicine at the moment? And it's absolutely imperative that people should be given the choice to use it if it helps them with their illness. Surely it's time that, we looked at or, could see about expanding the programme to include all illness. I wonder if you could answer that question.
Thank you. John.
Yeah, well, look, in short terms, and I know not everybody agrees with this, but the Medicinal Cannabis Access Programme is already a regulated programme, legislated for, so it doesn't fall under the terms of illicit drugs use. And that's, I know, a contentious issue among some people who are passionately interested in looking at the expansion of the Medicinal Cannabis Access Programme, but it's not something that the terms of reference for this Citizens' Assembly mandated this group to look at.
Okay, no, thank you. Jack?
Just in regards to 6.1, I also had some ideas about the wording. In particular, I believe that it should state referral of general public and stakeholder submissions, and it should inform the development and deployment of the next national drug strategy.
Can we go for implementation instead of deployment? Just the usual terminology. Implementation of the next as opposed to deployment.
Oh yeah, I guess, yeah.
Okay,
that's fine.
It's fine. Tab 10 is in.
Sorry, based on the previous question from table 2, I have a concern about our vote result yesterday on voting for the cannabis as changing it from the status quo to house-led approach, and I have a concern about how much it's gonna be to how much effect it's gonna have to recommendation 6.2, and would that change the current legalization?
We're not on 6.2. Sorry, we're not on 6.2 yet.
Yeah, I just like to echo what she said.
I know you're
earlier
coming
on.
in behind the points. Yeah. Okay, I understand. Okay, can I have a show of hands? We're okay with 6.1 to go as is. Sorry, my apologies. Sorry, just one comment from Rebecca. Okay, show of hands. Sorry, one last time for me, please. Okay, we'll go with 6.1. 6.2. So it's okay. I'm going to call Rebecca and then Noel.
So I would just like to make a comment based on something that was said at table 2 a second ago on behalf of some of my fellow members. The Citizens Assembly notes the close result on the cannabis decriminalisation status yesterday and calls on the government to recognise and treat cannabis, to recognise the fact that cannabis should probably be treated differently to all other drugs.
And can you just clarify, Rebecca? Can you just clarify your proposal as that wording goes in here on recommendation?
No, it's nothing to do with this. It's a separate comment
Okay.
that I wanted to make, that because
Sorry.
the vote was so close yesterday and there's a sense that there may have been some confusion around the process, that I just think it's important to have it noted publicly on camera that there is a difference. There was such a fine line.
I fully understand
Yeah,
your point.
so I
and
just think it's important to
I think it's very
acknowledge
well,
that.
I think it's very well made. Your point in terms of reference to the tightness of it, etc., to be reflected in the report, I think is your wording. And it is show of hands if the room is agreed that we should reflect the tightness of the report. Okay. Thank you. We'll work something on that. Any other suggestions on 6.2? Table 5 and then table 6 again. Bill, come back to table 1. 5.
Hi, yeah, just in addition to that, while cannabis and other drugs like psilocybin, ayahuasca and mushrooms were deemed outside the terms of reference for discussion, we at the same time had to...
Please, sorry, Adele, is it?
Jean.
Sorry,
Jean.
Jean, I can't see. Sorry, you have you there now.
Do you mind if I sit down?
Yeah. No, sorry, apologies. I couldn't see where the mic was.
Yeah, I just want to say that while it's deemed outside of the terms of reference to discuss drugs like cannabis and psilocybin, ayahuasca, etc., we were at the same time asked to vote on these substances. And I feel like there's a bit of bias as we weren't educated on these substances.
Yes.
And human
Fucking
nature
yes.
is such that if something is unfamiliar or we're not educated on it, then we're more likely to be afraid of that substance.
Yes. Fucking
we're afraid
yes.
that there would have been then a
Yes.
sort of unconscious
She's bang
bias
on
against
here.
these drugs.
She's
and it
fucking
may not have
bang
been-
on here.
or
We
may
need
not have
another
reflected.
session
I
to
just feel like we
educate
should
these
have had
people and a revote.
Education and information about the benefits of these drugs at the beginning or throughout the assembly meetings, and therefore there was a bit of bias.
No, I understand, Jean. Yeah.
Fucking spot on, lady.
I think the answer is similar enough to the question about whether or not medicinal cannabis was inside the terms of reference. The therapeutic benefits of drugs or the potential therapeutic benefits of drugs is obviously an issue of interest to certain members in the room here. But again, it's clearly different from the terms of reference, which called on looking at the harmful impacts of illicit drugs. So
What's the harmful
you're
impacts of
talking about
fucking
a
criminalising
possible
people
therapeutic benefit
for
of
self-medicating?
illicit drugs, which is a different question entirely from looking at how the state can reduce the harmful impacts of illicit drugs.
But if I could just add, at the same time, we were asked to vote on these, which is really important and has dramatic impacts on society. And I feel like we should have been educated more, considering we did have to vote on it.
Yeah, I'd agree.
We did have to vote on whether we need to legalise these or not. We weren't informed fully around the benefits and
Dr.
the
Carl
harms.
Hart should have been up in front of you.
Okay, I suppose that the benefits of these drugs is not within the terms of reference, therefore there wasn't either a remit or a mandate or time, in fact, to look at those issues.
It's not the benefits, it's the
so-
criminalising of people
Sorry, can we just
self-medicating.
have hands, please?
That's harmful.
Okay, sorry. Any further suggestions on Noel? Table 11?
You're spot on, Casa. You can see the fear in her, like she's shaking. Or maybe it's just because she's not a good public speaker,
I
she's
have a
nervous, but
specific, comments to
certainly
that I want
fair
to
there.
add, but just to
On 6.2, is it?
Yeah, on 6.2, yeah. But just in reference to what Jean was saying, I think if you're actively excluding the therapeutic benefits,
Yeah.
then indirectly you are causing harm.
Yes, yes.
And we've contributed to that.
Fucking yes.
Okay.
So,
do you want to go? Sorry.
Yeah.
Floor is yours.
Yeah, like.
So, like, just following on then, specifically on this recommendation 6.2, I would like to propose an additional sentence at the end of the narrative. I'd like to take away for further consideration, because it's quite vague, nondescript. And I'd like to add, in addition, the action is to establish an evidence base on the therapeutic effects of psilocybin, ayahuasca, ibogaine, to inform policy and practice.
Do you have that written out there? No, just to help us.
Good man, Noel. Well fucking done. This is kind of what I was looking forward to now, this bit of a feedback session here. Because Jean made a very good point here too around the education of the citizens on the uses of drugs. Like, how can you vote? Like, they're only looking at the harms. It's like voting on cars and only looking at the car crashes and not looking at the fact that like millions of people use cars beneficially getting to A to B and no problems. So if you only just looked at the car crashes,
We'll get to Abilene,
you'd end up fucking having to criminalise cars. You know?
Excuse my typos, I'll fix them up afterwards.
Because that's what we're asking the citizens to do here. Like, we're asking them to vote on whether we should have cars on the road, and we're only telling them about the car crashes.
That's it.
That's as you have it worded now, yeah? Yeah. Okay, Bill on table 6 and then Aveline on table 1.
Yeah, again, just going back to the wording, 6.2, you suggest that submissions received by the Citizens Assembly on drug use should be referred to appropriate authorities.
Yeah. In the main recommendation, isn't it? In the main recommendation, Bill, yeah. Aveline?
Yeah, I would just like to note in the room, in reply to those comments, that I respect them, but we voted on cocaine yesterday, and we didn't look at the pros and cons of cocaine. We didn't look at the modality, the scientific background as to how it works. We didn't go into a nitty gritty on any drug, so that's just a reply to that.
No, fair point. Okay, thank you. Dolores, sorry. I'll go back to table 6.
But you should have looked at how these drugs work for people.
Dolores, thank you.
The toxicity of these drugs.
Yeah, I just think the last recommendation there, I think it's contradictory to what we're saying. It was outside the terms of reference to be looking at the therapeutic aspects, and yet we're making a recommendation on them, so I think that's contradictory. Yeah. And just as well to go back to the other points in general about the voting and so on yesterday, I think it was very clear what we were doing. And I feel that maybe the voices around, if the vote had gone a different way, there mightn't have been the same objections to the way things were done yesterday.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to stick with 6.2, and Dolores, your point is made, well made, in relation to this could be outside of our terms of reference, so we'll have to let the room judge on this one. Any other further suggestions? Okay, actually, I'm going to. Okay, Kerry, since you're there. Kerry, quickly, I'll take it quickly. If you can. Okay.
I just think that if 15 or 18 people put up their hands, as I said yesterday, that's 20% of the room didn't understand what they were voting on. So that's not clarity.
Okay, I'm on 6.2.
Even if individual people thought it was clear.
Well, fucking
keep going, but I'm going to stick with 6.2.
She's spot on.
I wanted someone to table 6. I think I want to come back into this.
Thank you.
I'm not table 13.
I'm just raising a point
really
on behalf of the table, which is a concern that referral of certain issues outside of the terms of reference to appropriate authorities wouldn't lead to action, and therefore would like to suggest strengthening of the language in the recommendation, that there be a review of certain issues, and the first one being the use of cannabis for medicinal use, the second one being the process of prescribing legal drugs and risks of addiction.
Sorry, the proposal is that goes in, is it?
As a recommendation, in that there be
We can't have a recommendation outside of our terms of reference. Like we can't. I mean,
it's bullshit. They needed to widen those terms of reference, and it was called for as well. The SOC Dems. What was her name?
Any other comments?
Back the West Cork lady.
Alana, table.
It was her anyway. But yeah, they refused to widen the terms of reference for that reason alone.
Hi guys, I know this is very
reason,
topical from
they
yesterday.
didn't want to include this shit.
But just, we did deliberate on this yesterday, and it says in the explanatory notes that we haven't deliberated or taken a position. I feel like that's contradictory to the vote we took yesterday. I realise this is in relation to submissions from the public, but I don't think that wording is correct. I'm not sure how you can fix that.
Yeah, well, just to clarify, so the vote yesterday that was taken in relation to psilocybin, etc., was in relation to, which legal approach would be taken for them, right?
Yeah.
The question of the therapeutic benefits is a different question in a sense, right? So they are two distinct things. So we haven't deliberated on the therapeutic benefits of certain drugs, be it cannabis, be it ecstasy, MDMA, or be it psilocybin, etc. So there's been a lack of a detailed discussion on those issues, and that's because they're not within the terms of reference, that question of possible therapeutic benefits.
Yeah, I understand that. I just feel like that particular wording,
as it is
misleading, because we did actually have a vote on those specific drugs yesterday.
Okay, when we will test this.
So, sorry, could I quickly fix that, Alana, by just saying the issue of the therapeutic benefits of these drugs was not taking a position on the therapeutic benefits of these, potential therapeutic benefits of.
Okay, well, Carl is just trying to do that. Jack, I'm going to move to this one fairly quickly because we're really Taking a lot of time on 6.2.
I guess I just wanted to ask for clarification on what is meant by, I guess, well, the terms and conditions of this assembly. It seems to me as if this whole issue is one in which the assembly holds a particular interest in, and does these sort of the intransigent do the intransigent, in my opinion, terms and conditions, do they come before maybe the desires and wishes of the assembly itself?
The frank answer, and this not to be too blunt, is yes. We have to stay in our terms of reference, which are set by the Oireachtas, elected members. They set it for us. We deliberate on the issues set for us, and we report recommendations based on that. So yes, it's set for us. We have reflected a lot of issues in the report on our recommendations related to our terms of reference. We
Can't
haven't
have a
strayed
discussion
outside.
on drugs without
Lots
the
of other areas
therapeutic
people will have a
uses
view
being
on,
included.
but it has to be within our terms of
You
reference.
can't.
It's not intransigence. It's just that's the way
Jack, you're
terms of
spot
reference
on.
work.
It's ridiculous to be working
And
within
if I
the
could just give
terms.
some context about the reason for this recommendation, 6.2, it's because we felt, first of all, recognise that there is a lot of interest in these topics among certain members of the Assembly itself, and also from certain submissions received. And rather than simply saying these are not within terms of reference, we're not going to discuss or do anything with them, and off you go on your merry way, this is an effort to do as much as possible while remaining within our terms of reference, which is to simply pass these issues over to the appropriate authorities so that they can consider them and take them on board as the viewpoints of some of the members of the Assembly and some members of the public and stakeholders who made submissions. So it's doing as much as we can while staying within the terms of reference.
That's exactly what he's saying, Rob, in the report.
God's floor, have you finalised your wording yet? Is it, show of hands if you're happy with the wording as it is to go to a ballot? A show of
Yeah, I'll
hands,
certainly be
only
making
one
an
hand
effort
per
to have a
person.
chat with Jack anyway, that's for sure. Grab your parachutes.
A show of hands if you're not happy with it. Not happy with this wording. Okay, we'll go with this wording as it is. Thank you. 6.3. Next, National Drug Strategy should include a focus on service and technological innovation. Table 3.
Yeah, just innovation means not reinventing the wheel and basically taking what's already working out there. So I think there should be a statement saying that we should look at what's already working and models working, like prevention and whatever in Iceland, Portugal, or many other countries, and adapting them to the Irish society.
Okay, looking at best practice internationally and
I really like what they do in Iceland. I love that as a model for Irish society. But what they've done, they didn't go harder on drugs. Is they really
Are you okay with that?
invested
So
in their young
not-
people.
okay,
They really
thank you.
invested in keeping family
Elaine's
units
waving for
connected,
table 12.
empowering family units.
We were talking
Iceland
about
is great for
changing
that.
our recommendation heading to the line which is in the narrative, which is the next national drug strategy should incentivize and promote evidence-based innovations. Just that entire line is in the narrative.
In the text, was it, Lauren?
Yeah, we should change that line to the heading.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I hear.
Because it makes more sense to the narrative.
I think the only bit's missing is evidence-based, isn't it?
So Lauren, delete the existing heading and replace it with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where we lost international best practice.
We can stick that in.
Back
Yeah.
press in the line. Yeah.
We're just going to get...
And change the word good practice to best practice.
International. Yeah. We have two best practices, but formed by best practice nationally and internationally, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Formed by best practice nationally and internationally, we'll go for. Can I have a show of hands if we're happy to go with this as it is? as amended, I should say. Thank you. We'll go with that. 6.3. Fine.
Oh, doesn't Zin has another?
Sin.
Thank you. Sorry about that. And we suggest to add in the title to 2.3 that the next national drug strategy should work with the Department of Health and universities and the Departments of Technology and Innovation to deliver the service. And add to the explanatory narrative that to integrate the healthcare unit identifier.
Unique health identifier, was it?
Yes.
I'd agree with you there as well, Ashley. It does feel like that.
One, was it? It doesn't exist.
That's the existing problem that you need to link the system together.
Okay.
That's we've been talked in the last few weeks and the previous votes. And also, when after...
Sorry, Suzanne, go ahead.
Sorry. And when designing the software system, and they should have fully regard to the patient's confidential and with following GDPR. Thanks.
The unique health identifier doesn't exist though at the moment, overall.
To roll out.
Not a bother at all, Amy.
Okay, you're saying roll out.
Oh, she talks. It'd be great if she does have a talk.
Okay.
Sit down across the table and share blunt more.
We did have a show of hands now, but I'll take
No,
one
I
last.
think there's still 2 references to next.
Oh, apologies. Yeah. We'll do a full review of next, where it's appropriate and where it isn't.
Yeah.
In explanatory texts. Okay, a show of hands was approved on that one, just based on that. If we're still okay, it's only an explanatory change. We go with 6.3. Finally, 6.4. Sorry, Carl. The next national drug strategy should include a plan to strengthen national research and data system for drugs. Show of hands. Oh, sorry.
Dale, no, we didn't even get decriminalisation yesterday.
Sorry.
I know it was said in the news.
Just
but
to include, so
doesn't
the
seem
national
like we
drug
did.
strategy should strengthen the national research, data collection and data system for drugs, just to specify data collection in there too, please.
Should data collection and system for drugs, yeah. Okay, table 1.
So from our table deliberations on this point, we would like to expand the recommendation to suggest the purpose of this research by adding to inform evidence-based decision making. And I have a second suggestion, if I may, please.
You can.
Within the narrative text, on the third line where it says, on the presentation of data from authorities, so we're on the third line there, we would like to replace authorities with agencies, including community-based organisations. To reference the wording of the last point, 6.3, it's worded as community and voluntary sectors. So basically what we want is just to include the community and voluntary sectors in that paragraph. Thank you.
No, thank you. Can I have a show of hands if we're happy with 6.4 to go to vote?
How many people are being
You?
refused treatment, Amy? Were they filled in on that number? People like myself.
It was 6.4, wasn't it?
I'm
No,
sorry,
6.4.
but we didn't have much chance to collect as many questions as the previous questions before we show hands on if we could go through. I'm
Sorry, Zane,
go to
once
the
I
next
see a
sorry,
hand,
sorry about
once I see a hand up, I'm going to the floor at all stages. I mustn't have seen your hand, but I'm going to the floor whenever I see a hand. So if you have a
But
point,
we did not. I was still preparing my questions, and it was too fast. And then
Well-
we did not spend as much time as the previous
no, and
questions.
Zin, you now,
I'm sorry,
you now
I
have the
didn't
floor.
want to
You now have
create
the floor.
conflicts.
You now have the floor. It's
Go
fine.
on, Zin.
I'm sorry about this. And then, and
You now
so
have the floor.
it's just my a little bit suggestion if we should include the healthcare indicator unit identifier to this as well, and to link all the existing systems and within the regard of the users confidentially and GDPR, and also maybe we can add to the explanatory narrative to add as a part of the data research to build the data model and utilizing machine learning and artificial intelligence and other technological innovation to validate the effectiveness of evidence models that we are voted before, and including the funding, the healthcare, etc. Thanks.
So, Zin, just on the question of GDPR and patient confidentiality, we've included this now in section 6.3, the previous question. So, would it work to just leave it there and it automatically applies as a principle across any use of technology?
Sorry, it's just in my opinion, and because GDPR is quite crucial for the for software system and the data. So I think it's. I think we do need to mention in both of the recommendations.
There would be. I think we do have it in 6.3, as Carl said, but there would be a natural assumption for any government process and any government system. It has to comply with GDPR. That's just a given. That's a basic qualifier. So
and Zin, just as a quick answer to a very detailed suggestion around the inclusion of our use of artificial intelligence and machine learning, I can just insert a sort of a summary phrase here, which is use of innovative technologies in supporting this. And if that, I think, will encompass all the points that you're suggesting.
Zin, I have to ask you to summarise it, please. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, just one last comment. As long as we put a part of validate use the innovation of technology to validate the effectiveness of the rest part that we talked about, the funding and the evidence-based programs and education.
Okay,
that would
thank
be great.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, Kerry.
Paul is freaking
Was this
here.
on
I'd say
6.4,
he's
Kerry?
dying for a cup of tea.
Okay. Just as a couple of things, there's down near the end in the last paragraph, there's the next drugs, the next
drug strategy.
strategy again. So
no, I said we'll do an edit and find and all those next. There's a lot of next.
And then there's a sentence just while Ireland has a robust and well-regarded research and data system on drugs, for someone who's been a worker and a researcher and has had a couple of publications in the HRB data system, I think it's actually quite underfunded and under-resourced.
Brian agrees with you down the back there. His hand is up already.
And I don't know if other people would agree.
Oh, he agrees, all right, yeah.
I think
Spot on, Amy.
it needs an awful lot more funding infrastructure, and that's not to take away from the very good work that's done there. But I was surprised to see that sentence there.
So, Kerry,
so I think there's a huge amount of funding and infrastructure that needs to go in there. Okay. And I think we saw throughout the presentations here a lot of data that was missing because of those gaps within the system. Like even as simple a thing as when we looked at what looked like a sudden increase in women's uptake of drug use, when it's actually the changing patterns of women's drug use that's changed. So I don't know, maybe you can look at rewording that.
Well, I've just suggested here, Kerry, to include, there's a need to further strengthen and resource the system.
Yeah, Sparks.
I don't know if Brian has a suggestion.
Agent Smith.
Overhaul, revamp. There's much stronger words that I would suggest, but there's other people with much greater expertise in the room. The second point that I had was, we're talking about partnerships between statutory authorities and academic research community. Does the partnership not have to be much, much wider than that? Does it not have to include all stakeholders, the community and voluntary service, the service users, the service providers?
Okay, we can say with all key stakeholders.
But also, can we include service users? Because other government departments are talking about PPI, so I'm not sure why PPI is excluded here.
Okay.
And again, the PPI involvement has to be funded, and that funding has to be named here, not just in the funding recommendations, because otherwise it is forgotten.
Thank you, Kerry. We've had the show of hands. Table for 6.4, so we'll go with 6.4 as currently being finalised. Agreed? Okay, so can I just, it's going to take us a few minutes to finalise this, get them printed off and bring them back to you. Can I just ask you to bear with us for a quick 10 minutes? We'll get this organised, we'll get the vote back to you, and we'll draw to some conclusions and the results of 5. Have we got results of 5? We'll have the results of 5 in a couple of minutes. So just bear with us for a few minutes and we'll get these printed and out to you. Thank you very much. Please don't head off too far.
Yeah, B. Mooney there was just saying that, yeah, there was a bit of pushback there, yes, from yesterday's kind of shambles GB. There were some very valid points being brought up there as well about the fact that the citizens weren't actually educated about these drugs that they voted on. They were just kind of, as I would say it, like they were really like, it's like if this was cars they were voting on, like it was like the equivalent of, they were just pretty much showing car crashes, you know, bodies maimed by fucking car crashes, you know, people devastated by the loss of loved ones from car crashes, and then asked to vote on cars. And not told about the fact that, yeah, people use cars to go to work, to go to school, you know, to use them for all sorts of things and beneficial and no problems. They were just told about the car crashes. Like that's effectively what the citizens were saying, like, as we weren't educated about this, and then they were kind of being hit with this, well, the therapeutic uses, look, it was outside of the terms of reference. That's what they kind of kept hitting with them, the terms of reference. And then the fact was, like, there was a request before this began by one of the TDs there with the Social Democrats, her name's still eluding me. Somebody probably threw it up there a while ago, but she called for an extending of the terms of reference to include the therapeutic uses of some of these drugs, to be looking at non-problematic drug use, I suppose, I think is how she put it. But like if that extension was granted, then the citizens would have had a lot more lot more of I suppose a lot more permission, because they're restricted now at the moment. They don't have permission to extend their view to the therapeutic, to the beneficial uses of these drugs, to the people who are self-medicating with these drugs. Holly Cairns, boom, there you go. That's the lady I was trying to fucking think of. I believe it was Holly Cairns who brought it up in the Dáil, looking for the extension when this was being debated at the time. And they refused it. But had they allowed it, they would have taken the blinders off the citizens and allowed them to have a full view of what the actual full picture is, because that's effectively what they've done. They put blinders on them, you know, those horse blinders, restricted their vision. You know, you can't look, and everybody out there do this with me, do this, and you're restricting your vision. You can't see fucking what's going on your left and your right. And that's effectively, you can only see straight ahead what they're allowing you to see, which is the car crashes. You're not allowed to see the benefits. That's what they've done to the citizens. No wonder. And then the wording, again, we talked about this earlier, the wording, they tricked them into the comprehensive health lead. And why they tricked them into that is that they were afraid. They didn't educate them on it. If you don't educate them, they're going to be afraid of these things, and they're going to vote towards, like, what with health lead. Oh, yeah, that sounds good. Comprehensive health lead. It's different to the status quo health lead. Comprehensive health lead. No, sorry, guys. We just didn't get the outcome we wanted out of this, and it seems like, you know, hopefully there now over the next little bit there'll be more kind of a fuss kicked up there by the citizens on this, when they're allowed more opportunity to kind of ask questions about the assembly, give feedback, I suppose. And as I said, going forward, us as the citizens outside of this, you know, the entirety, the citizens of Ireland, we always have the powerful tool of protest in our democracy. Get out there, organise. I've already proposed the date there now for the 6th of November, the 10-year anniversary on the voting of the cannabis legalisation bill of Luke Ming-Flanagan. So that's out there. I've actually just fired Luke Ming-Flanagan a message there as we were watching that. Just kind of reminding them, hey, do you know, there's a 10-year anniversary of the voting year cannabis legalisation bill coming up. So let's do something around that. So I'm going to... Anybody, Amy, you probably got a chat there with Gino. Tell Gino to have a chat with Luke as well. The 6th of November, the Monday. Let's try to get his bill there before the government on that date. 10-year anniversary of the cannabis legalisation bill. Let's have a watered down version. Let's see if they'll vote for a 7-gram decriminalisation. I know it's not everything we want or need, but let's go for it. Maybe even have a chat there with Gino to throw the fucking decriminalisation of the grown of 4 plants in there as well, the homegrown. Follow like something what they're allowing in Germany and things like that. Let's throw that in there. Come on, let's push for it. Gino, if you're out there, if you're watching this, I don't know if you're in the audience, kid. Let's try to do something, man. 6th of November, it's a Monday. Let's try to get that bill up there before the Dáil. Let's get it voted on. Let's get a bit of an assembly outside of the Dáil, calling for support of those 38 who did vote in favour of legalisation. Like, come on. 38 in favour of legalisation, 39 in favour of a comprehensive health lead. I guarantee if you were to put it to the 39 who voted for comprehensive health lead, and if they said, hey, would you vote for a comprehensive health lead legalisation and regulation? Oh, yeah. I bet you get over 75% of them switch over that vote. No problem at all. So let's try to do something. Endo, Amy saying, I'll put together a draft and send it to you first, Martin, and get it going. Absolute legend, Amy. Absolute legend. Casa de Strugas saying South Africa are demanding no plant counting, and Gino Socialist is limiting us to 7 grams, no homegrown. Yeah, it is a bit of a joke. I think the 7 grams, I think we can work around that if we can get the homegrown. If we can get the homegrown in 7 grams and limit the 7 grams to being, like, say, on the street or something like that, or maybe push the 7 grams to being 28 grams or something. But it's definitely a start. But I definitely agree with you, like, that it's incredibly watered down to what Luke Ming-Flanagan put forward. And we do need to build it up a little bit. I think if we can include home growing in it, if we can maybe increase the 7 grams a bit. But look, if it's only 7 grams and no homegrown, I'm still going to be standing there behind the column for it. I'll criticise it, but I'll support it. It's not perfect, but it needs to be supported. It's all we've kind of got at the moment that's up there, unfortunately. But let's do it. Like, let's try to get Gino to extend the home growing. If we can convince them not to have a plant count in there, maybe that can come in at the amendment stage if the other side want it. Like, let's as they say, Casa, and on about here, like, if you want 1 buggy, you ask for 5 buggies. There's a little reference there to the drug welfare kind of getting that organised and stuff like that, dealing with the festivals and stuff, If you want something from them, you have to ask for more than what you need, and you might get what you want in the end. And I think that's exactly what we need to be doing here with Gino's bill. We shouldn't be asking for 7. We should be asking for, complete decriminalisation of possession of, like, up to an ounce or 2 or something like that, and no plant counting. If they want that, let the other side put it in. Yeah. Imagine we could convince Gino to put fucking Luke Ming-Flanagan's bill again. It's still there. He could just copy and paste it, put his own name in it.
Over the last few weeks and months. It
is
a great privilege to join you all here today in this Citizens' Assembly process and what's going to be, I believe, a momentous discussion. But you are the only people who will make the decisions in this room on this assembly.
I'd have gone back to the start.
We encourage everyone to be bold in their questioning and recommendations as we go through the process.
Be
bold. But what I would like to see is something active and dynamic grow, because you can bang about the criminal law book forever and ever and ever, and it doesn't stop murder. It doesn't stop any of the other of these horrible crimes. So criminalising and making it a criminal justice issue solely is not what it's going to work.
People like ourselves working in this sector want to help people out of this. People who are in addiction want to get out of addiction. They do not want, this is not a lifelong dream to be in addiction. They want to be out of it.
So the question I suppose we have is, when people reach out for help, why are we putting hurdles in the way?
I don't think there is one solution. There has to be several solutions, because I think there are several things happening.
I think early intervention and clear pathways into recovery has to take place. I think it's extremely difficult at times in terms of accessing recovery.
And I visited Coolmine this morning, the ladies, and again, emotional, because it works out there. It actually works. And it doesn't need to be reinvented.
So my point really is, once you have a good, solid, robust structure, integrated, good partner in the community like Coolmine, ourselves in the HSC advocating for more, you can get results. And I mean that integrated care, that is the way to go.
Not everybody can go through the health-led approach, which is wonderful, but there needs to be something when that doesn't work.
How do we support young people from an early age? How do we improve our education system and their experience of the education system so that there is other options for them? Because at the moment, their options are to move into the drugs trade are often their best options.
And the sooner we get stuck into accommodating and minding young people, and the better in terms of prevention.
But at what point do we see them as victims? Because a 13, 14, 15-year-old, how do we see them as a criminal? They have been failed by successive government policies, they've been failed by statutory agencies, they've been failed by education systems, housing policy, social welfare policy.
The consequence of all this is that punishing these children on the assumption that they have a free rein to act pro-socially or anti-socially is unfair. Punishing them is also ineffective.
I have 2 teenagers, and you have changed my thought process completely about drugs and about the future of this country. One issue that we felt really strongly about is trauma. You know, trauma is the root of addiction, and this has to be recognised and the stigma removed.
We need to harness this recovery capital at a systemic level. We need our key partners across housing, health, education, employment, social services and justice. Where we live, where we play and where we work will determine our health. When we have health in all policy, health improvements are clear.
What we need are treatments that recognise a biopsychosocial model. We need treatments that can overlap that. But more important than that, it has to be rooted in compassion and empathy. It's not conveyor belt approach.
I don't believe that 9 individuals for 26 counties is enough. If even we were to say it was 10% or under, it's not enough. It's not adequate. Can we please, please take our heads out of the sand for once and for all?
If someone was, say, being referred to the service and the person is based in Galway and I'm having somebody who's in possession in Donegal, which is a 4-hour trip, how do I refer them on?
And I think there's moments like this when we get to talk about it, especially in the traveller community, and bring awareness around about it. Everything helps.
What do people tell us? They tell us they want to live. They tell us they want to realise their full potential. They tell us they want to have a stake in society. They tell us they want to be involved.
So there's kind of pockets of really good things happening all around the place. But there's some momentum now by the existence of the Assembly to say, let's get clear on this and have one clear strategy that everyone is rowing in behind.
If you do good things for other people, your own self-esteem improves. They benefit. And if you think about that as a community entity, across services, across interventions in families, across people who are struggling because they don't have a sense of belonging, it is really powerful. And the untapped bit is to get it into our consciousness and into our education system.
When they're not looked at as just a number and a statistic, you see them as people. They're literally like somebody sitting in the bus next to you. Could be exactly like them in Coolmines, and you wouldn't know it. They're not criminals. They shouldn't be treated like criminals. They're not serial killers or terrorists, you know.
Oh, we're going to still have the guards
suffering an addiction, and they should be helped.
And even those not suffering the addiction.
Well done to Ryan, who's just walking in the door from the office. The Secretary Ryan put that video together, so well done to you, Ryan.
Yeah, exactly, Rasher, you're spot on.
We must arrange one for everybody in the audience, just to get a USB key for you. I think we have ballot paper 6 ready for distribution, so we can distribute straight away, and we'll give the results for ballot paper number 5 now in just a moment, as well as we're distributing those. So then we just have to count 6.
So there's a count going on now again. Is that another passing around the ballot?
Just give them. Okay, just as you're looking at your ballot paper, just going to briefly present the results of ballot paper number 5 through Kieran. Thank you.
Okay, this is the results of papers 5, which had 9 questions, 1 to 9. Question 5.1 is to prioritise the reduction of supply, sale and distribution of illicit drugs. We had 85 votes cast on this particular ballot, 2 invalid, 81 agree, 2 disagree. On 5.2, to develop alternative pathways for young people engaged in low-level supply, 82 agree, 1 disagree and 2 spoiled votes. On 5.3, which is about resilient and sustainable communities.
Consistent spoiled votes
2
there,
spoiled
like.
votes, 76 agree and 7
A
disagree.
lot of cocks and pages, yeah.
On
Governor Porter.
5.4, tackle drug-related intimidation and violence, there were 4 spoiled votes, 79 agree and 2 disagree. 5.5, prioritise harm reduction, there were 3 spoiled votes, 79 agree, 3 disagree. On 5.6, which was about a strategic approach to prevention, apologies, the questions there, or the headings on the left-hand side are not updated to show that they should be 5 point, they're showing us 3 point. But we're actually on 5.6 and we'll correct that shortly. Strategic approach to prevention, there were 4 spoiled votes, 78 agree, 2 disagree and 1 don't know. On 5.7, to build resilience and prevention capital, we have 3 spoiled votes, 80 agree, 2 disagree, and that was it, no don't knows. 5.8, to design and implement a comprehensive school-based drug prevention strategy.
They're voting
We
for
have
stuff
3
that
spoiled
requires
votes,
funding.
81 agree,
And the
1
funding's just not
disagree.
there for all of this
And
stuff.
finally, on 5.9,
the pointless exercise, like at
which
the
was
end
about
of
the
it all,
National
like
Public
what
Health
they've ended up with.
Communications strategy, we had 2 spoils, 81 agree and 2 disagree. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. So could I ask Jesse and Marcus maybe just to validate the boxes or seal the boxes with Kieran before we take the vote for ballot paper number 6, please. So work away to the table, just prepare your ballots if you can, please.
Verifying the box is empty, locking her up.
Sorry, could I just make a clarification? On the printed ballot paper that you have, there's still the appearance of several references to the next National Drug Strategy. Apologies once again, they will be removed in the final recommendations. It's just a type.
They've taken 1.5 billion away, Kyle. Yeah. They want to fund their own jobs.
So whenever you are ready, it's I think we are ready. Okay. Are we okay?
Like, it feels like it's a waste
We
of
are
time
ready to take the
ultimately,
ballots,
Mr. Wes,
number
because
6,
if it's just
please.
going to go back to government, then the ultimate call is for more funding, the establishment of more services within the already under-resourced, underfunded
Sorry?
services.
Hold on. Hold on.
Like-
Your bodyguard, Marcus.
Seriously.
Sorry, just while we're waiting for the ballot boxes to be open, could I also clarify, I didn't quite complete the editing of the explanatory narrative in 6.4, so it says PPI at the bottom. That's a reference to me to take on board the suggestion Kerry made earlier, so that'll be incorporated as well. Thanks.
Sorry about this. We have our 2 tellers on bodyguard here. They won't let you near anything.
Eddie's Farm, nothing better than get up and smelling your fresh trim.
seal and a lock, is it?
Nice. Grow your own, lads. Like Teddy waking up and smelling your fresh trim. And boom, the voting is starting on
Box is
the
open.
ballot 6.
And the other box is open. You're in early.
Oh, I think I could do with a nice fucking session up in the sauna or something after this, just to de-stress. Frustration is just up there over all of this. Like, I can't believe they pulled this move, but I suppose I'm not surprised. Like, I genuinely thought the Citizens' Assembly wasn't really going to be fucked with a bit. Like, you know, I know the appointment to Paul Reid was a bit of a questionable move at the beginning of it. I know there was a lot of fuss kicked up about, like, say, the likes of Mary Cannon there on the expert advisory committee. I know there was a couple of issues with us, but I was really optimistic that this just wasn't going to be fecked with. Then throughout it, you know, there were some great presentations made, but again, criticisms were very valid in that, like, there wasn't any educator there for the citizens on drugs. You know, like, why didn't they bring over Professor David Nutt? Why didn't they bring over Dr. Carl Hart? You know, so many people. Like, why didn't they have somebody like Neil Woods come up and speak alongside of our guards? You know, our guards up there calling for more powers. Why not have somebody come in and counter that and say, look, come here, it's actually pointless giving these guys more powers, because all you're going to do is just create more problems. All you're going to do is embolden the criminals to get a bit more crafty, to get a bit more, even more dangerous within our society if you empower the guards more. It's ridiculous. Like, you give the guards more guns, then the criminals are going to have to get more guns. That's the way it goes. That's what's going on. Like, you see it over in likes of fucking Mexico and places like that. Obviously, it's a very complex thing that's gone on over in Mexico with the cartels. But again, it's all propped up and driven by the American prohibition. Like, crazy. Like, and in America, what do they do? Oh yeah, sure, we'll sponsor the Mexicans there. We give them a bit of money for their guards, their police services down there. Like, what happens there then? That money just ends up in funding the bloody cartels, getting weapons for the cops that get sold to the cartels. Oh, Mexico's a big shit show, but again, caused by prohibition that we've continued to support here now in Ireland after the Citizens' Assembly. They were hoodwinked. Like, it was fact with those three options. They were all one. They really were all one. The status quo, health diversion, comprehensive health aid, that's all the same shit, man. That needs to be called out. Like, come on, Gino, somebody, guys, use your dial time there, question the government on this, guys. Why the hell was the terms of reference not widened when requested? Look what it's after doing now to it. Who designed the ballots, these fucking options? Because the serious questions have to be asked as to what they were just doing there with the status quo, health diversion, and comprehensive health aid. What were they thinking? It's all the same, and I'd love to hear whoever came up with that, and for them to justify those three options as being different. Podge saying, no wonder Ireland is the laughing stock of the world. Are we? I don't know, but yeah.
Sorry, Kerry.
Today we are, anyway, at least. And yesterday we had a golden
Sorry,
opportunity.
can I ask everybody, please, have you all put your ballot papers in the box at this stage?
Prohibitionists.
We're just going to close it. One last call. I know the last time it took one or two. Are any of the facilitators aware that somebody not back at their table to vote? Any of the facilitators? There is one? No? We're okay? Okay, we're going to formally close ballot process for ballot paper number 6, and we'll try to turn this around. Nobody else? Okay. We close, and last Kieran and Jesse and Marcus. Please. I'll do that for you finish, yeah. I'll do that for us. I'll do it when I finish.
So the box has been carried off now to be counted.
Okay, so we're just going to try to turn this one around as quickly as we can.
I want him to open the floor to more questions. I want to hear from these citizens. It seems
pressure,
like that
Kieran.
there's, you know, that Q&A session that needed to go on there a while ago.
Shouldn't take long, folks. It's just 4 ballot papers.
Yeah, I see that, Mr. Edison, yeah, Podge, but he can now say he's going by what the Citizens' Assembly wanted. Complete stint they've pulled, and Kyle Green there, exactly.
Sorry, folks, just while we're waiting, we're going to hand out the post-meeting evaluation forms, the favourite part of your day. And as you know, we've really relied on these to give us credible feedback from the room at each and every meeting. Obviously, everybody will want to have their say on this meeting and how it went. And, you know, good, bad or indifferent, we do value your feedback. So please fill out your details on the form, and that'll get us through the next few minutes while we're waiting for the counting of ballot paper 6. Thanks.
I'd love to see what the feedback is throughout these sessions. Smoke and mirrors. That's exactly what was done, man. They had the wool pulled over their eyes. They weren't educated about drugs, and as they were even told by Dr. Ian Matter, I believe was who said it, that if they're not educated about these drugs, then they're going to be fearful of them and more than likely to vote in favour of, like, say, something like that that's described as health-led, comprehensive health-led status fucking quo, the fear of legalising these things, legalisation and regulation, that doesn't fully explain. It doesn't go far enough to explain what that thing actually means. It's like that, yes, health is incorporated at the core of regulation and legalisation. At least it should be. I know initially it wasn't. The commercialisation, capitalism and all of that kind of takes over, but I think if we were to do things right with other drugs, then we wouldn't end up with the mess that we kind of made with the likes of alcohol and tobacco, where at the moment, like, we've limited the advertising of tobacco, rightly so. We've even stuck fucking these horrible images in their boxes. But alcohol is still advertised everywhere. Like, my kids can't fucking throw on YouTube there without the likes of, what's that one that's coming up? Perrier or something like that. The drink ad coming up. There's a few others. I think Coors have some ads up there as well. That they're allowed to advertise alcohol, no problem. And then they get their the complete loophole where they're advertising their alcohol-free stuff nowadays. Like, it's like, nah, stop. No advertising of any drugs. That's what I would be behind. The only advertising of a drug that should be done is advertising how to use a drug in a responsible, reasonable manner. The devil's lettuce. Yeah, it seems like reefer madness is alive and well anyway at the thing, because they're not even allowed to talk about the therapeutic or uses or benefits. The fact that there's people in this country who are already using cannabis as a medicine, and we're going to continue to criminalise others who self-medicate outside of the legally prescribed system that's there, because it's an overly restrictive system. As I keep saying, I myself have been kept out of it, despite the fact I have an epilepsy, and having my questioning, like telling my consultant, hey, these medicines you've prescribed me haven't worked. I've had breakthrough seizures. Can we not go down the road of medical cannabis, because I seem to be having a bit more benefit with that when it's a consistent supply, and he just wasn't having it at all. Paul Effick says, talk about health, but time ticks of voting on imaginary populations. Load of me bollocks is all there is, to be honest, as pods. Ashley Guerra says, do you think we can F away freedom of information, the feedback? Quite possibly. Like, why not? Like, I don't see why not. If they don't publish it, I don't see why you couldn't go and request it under the freedom of information. Maybe they'd have to redact the personal information of the person who's given the feedback, but yeah, I don't see why not. Should be anyway, at least I would imagine. Like, it's a citizens' assembly. Like, why wouldn't the feedback from the citizens at the assembly be freedom of information request if it's not to be published publicly? Yeah. Election in 2024, so it'll be a different house. I agree there, Emmy, as well. Potentially a different house there around 2024. If it's going to be tabled until 2025, it won't be up to Leo anyway, though. It's going to be up for the next government. Yeah. Ashley, I'd say Cron will get onto the freedom of information requests. Yeah, the guys at Cron are pretty good. I think they've got one of their members over there who's very good at making these freedom of information requests. And I think even a couple of their other members are getting even more improved at their freedom of information requests. Because with a freedom of information request, you kind of have to be quite like, you have to you phrase your question in the right way, what you're asking for. You can't be too vague, but sometimes you can't be too specific either. But sometimes being very specific can be good if you know what you're looking for. In this case, asking for the feedback from the citizens of the Citizens' Assembly. Straightforward enough, surely, as a freedom of information request. So I think this is supposed to end at like 1 o'clock today, isn't it? 1:30? I believe that's what they were saying anyway. I don't know what's going on over there on X. Let's have a look at what some of the commentary is over there. G saying here, the CA drug use doubles down that medical cannabis is to be excluded from the agenda. However, yesterday they discussed turning GP surgeries into methadone consumption rooms without consulting any GPs. Not a single medical professional was in the room, but medical cannabis can't be discussed. Yeah, it's a very valid point too. They did bring that up, and yeah, it's a very good point to talk about too. That the turning GP surgeries into methadone consumption rooms is not the best of things to be doing. Like, surely there needs to be dedicated drug consumption rooms there for things like that. And I'd agree. I think that's the position you're taking there on that as well. I wonder who else is out there now today chatting about the CA drug use. Dr. Sharon Lambert. I haven't been able to watch the Citizens Assembly Drug Use Live, but my reading from the reporting is that the citizens overwhelmingly voted to change the status quo, but the conclusions of the event is a citizens' vote for the status quo. Is that a fair assessment? That's a spot-on assessment, Sharon. Spot on. Let's hit this hashtag and see what else is being posted underneath it. I gave this a share there a while ago as well myself up there on X. CA drug use fails to decriminalise. A vote for a health-led approach sounds lovely, but it is what we have had since 2019, but not implemented. No bravery, no new approach, no solutions. Extremely disappointed. When I stood in front of this last week, I was optimistic for more. And I too shared that optimism. I believe when you shared that photo there last week, I was kind of fully of the view that the citizens were going to be bold, they were going to be brave, and they were going to take a new approach to how we looked at this. But unfortunately, like yourself, extremely disappointed, deflated after this. But look, we can't lose hope yet. You know, it is a bit of a kick, but look, let's fucking not quit now and give up. And like some other people there are saying yesterday, they're going to pack their bags and head the places where more liberal places, more progressive places. But let's not do that, guys. Let's not abandon the ship yet. Yeah, Natalie O'Regan here saying that 2 members seem confused and annoyed at this process. Yep, they are indeed. Jorro saying, how can a citizens' assembly vote against the status quo and at the same time conclude with keeping the status quo? Exactly, guys, this is what I'm saying as well. I'm glad, like, I'm not the only one. All you out there in the hot box are agreeing with me. We're seeing people up here on X, you know, seeing the same thing. We've ultimately ended up with the status quo. Natalie Regan, after rejecting the status quo yesterday, it seems by wording of the ballots, today's members are continuing to vote in favour of the status quo and in reinforcing the same system currently in operation. Am I viewing this wrongly? No, you're not, Natalie. That's exactly what we have here. Like, come on, you look at option C, it's not decriminalisation. I know Paul Reid was on the news there yesterday saying that what we've got is decriminalisation of the drug user, but we have not got decriminalisation of the drug user. Possession remains largely illegal. You got power of discretion of the authorities. You're giving them more powers to mandate health interventions. But if a person is not ready to receive a health intervention or doesn't believe they need a health intervention, then like you're going to have to go down the road of criminal sanctions and all of that. You know, they talk about fines, they talk about community service. Like, you know, ridiculous. I see Cron sharing this lady here. No, what's her name again? She comments on it actually. Carrie Ann. Yeah, she gave some great contributions there throughout the last 2 days. In fairness, regardless of what her position might be, she gave some great contributions. But she actually expressed that she doesn't have anti-cannabis sentiment to the Cran lads. Yeah, Graham here again, just showing her that the wording is flawed. The framing of the CA drug use ballot is flawed. Regulating drugs is not mutually exclusive from a comprehensive health-led approach. It's not one or the other. It's not. It needed to be in there, guys. The outcome would have been so much different if you had legalisation and regulation for all drugs in a health-led approach. You know? More recent stuff there. Councillor Chris Pender from yesterday, concerns are rising among CA drug use members due to a complex voting process that seems to misrepresent their intentions. Transparency is key, and I urge a thorough review to ensure fairness and eliminate any undue influence from the Secretariat, fair voting, transparency. Whoa. Nice deals there. Like, imagine having this, like, the deals are in. This week is done, but the savings have just begun. Buy 3.5 grams of flour for $60. Imagine if we had this selection here, like, seriously.
Results of ballot 6, and then we'll separately
Right,
put
let's
them
go
up on
back.
screen shortly. So,
Let's see what's
Sure.
happening.
Okay, the following are the results of ballot paper number 6, which consisted of 4 questions. The first question is referral of submissions received by the Citizens' Assembly on drug use to inform the development of the next national drug strategy. Yeah, sorry. On that one, we had, on all of these, we have 85 votes cast. On that question 6.1, we had 79 agree, 4 disagree, 1 don't know, and 1 invalid vote. On question 6.2, which is the referral of certain submissions received by the Citizens' Assembly on drugs use to appropriate authorities, 68 agree, 15 disagree, 1 don't know, and 1 invalid. 6.3 is the next national drug strategy should include a focus on service, technological innovation and international best practice. And of that one, 78 agree, 4 disagree, 2 don't know, and 1 invalid. And the last question, 6.4, is to strengthen the national research and data collection systems. 77 agree, 4 disagree, 3 don't know, and 1 invalid. Thank you.
thank you. And that concludes the balloting and the balloting process on the count. What we do want to play, is Ryan got the video?
Yeah. So we have a short video to play just in a moment, if you bear with us as we load it up. Just looking for Ryan. But meanwhile, while we're waiting for that to play, I might just take a few moments just to kind of conclude things from my perspective as Secretary. Paul will have the last word as Chairperson. But what I wanted to say was, look, we're at the finishing line now with all of the votes casted, counted and reported on. It's been an extraordinary process, I think, from my perspective. It's been a privilege to have been involved in this. We have done a Trojan amount of work, I think, over the last 7 months. My admiration about the level of work that you guys have done over the last 7 months is profound. I've really respected the amount of time you've put in, both at the weekend meetings and also, you know, in between meetings, the amount of interaction that we've had through email, through phone calls, through Zoom meetings, particularly with the steering group. I want to thank each and every one of the steering group for the massive effort they put in. I also want to acknowledge the invaluable help we've had from the Lived Experience group and our advisory support group, and also the various other panels we had during the process, like the legal advisory panel that we had leading up to meeting 4. So many people involved behind the scenes and in front of the scenes as well, helping us with this process. It's been an amazing experience, a difficult topic. There is clearly lots of different viewpoints in the room, huge range of diversity in the room, and I think that's been really important. It's so hard for a Citizens' Assembly that doesn't have that diversity to be able to go back with credible recommendations to the Oireachtas and to the government. So I'm confident, now that we've crossed the finishing line with all those results, that we do have a very credible set of recommendations. They're not all unanimous, and there's obviously room, you know, there's people in this room who are disappointed by some of the results, and that will be reflected in the final report. There will be room in the final report to reflect, as Paul said, the closeness of some of the votes, and that will be an issue then for the Oireachtas to take cognizance of. I just want to finish up by saying thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to Paul, who's been an absolutely amazing chairperson to work with, and thank you to everybody in front of and behind the scenes who's made this possible. Paul will go through it in detail, but just want to say thank you, each and every one of you, and well done.
So we have a brief video from an Taoiseach Leo Varadkar just to present to you this morning.
A good úsla, bhuatlam an deis seo hapu chun buíochas a gabhfuil le gach duine agaibh as fuór demontas agus fuór nuachracht iontach madidir le hobar hábhachtach an tionol seránach úsáid drugaí. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for your extraordinary dedication and commitment to the important work of the Citizens' Assembly on Drug Use. This Assembly was asked to consider the legislative, policy and operational changes we could make to significantly reduce the harmful effects of illicit drug use on individuals, their families, communities and wider society.
Harmful impacts.
This was a significant task, given the multifaceted nature of the problems associated with drugs misuse. But I'm sure that at this stage, you know that better than most. Over the course of 6 or 7 short months, you were asked to listen, learn, engage, discuss, and most importantly, deliberate on these issues. You had the benefits of experts and academics from Ireland and internationally, and you've also had the benefit of hearing people's lived experience. I know that your Assembly has operated to the highest standards in terms of deliberative democracy, and I expect that your recommendations, whatever they may be, will reflect the collective wisdom of a dedicated and varied group of people from right across the country. As you know, once your work concludes this weekend, your report will be finalised and submitted to the Oireachtas and Government by the end of this year. I can assure you that the Government and the Oireachtas will carefully consider and respond comprehensively to your recommendations.
Well, you didn't say that a few weeks
As
ago.
members of the
months
Assembly,
ago.
you've made a valuable civic contribution, and I'm immensely grateful to each of you. Thank you for your time and that of your families who've assisted your participation over the past 6 months.
I bet you recorded this yesterday when he
My
knew they
thanks
got what they
also
wanted.
to the Chairman of the Assembly, Mr Paul Reid, for dedicating himself to the work of the Assembly, and for what I've heard has ensured that not a minute was wasted throughout each meeting. I know your work was aided by the Advisory Support Group, the Lived Experience Group, and all the contributions over the course of the Assembly. Thank you for all that you've contributed. So congratulations on reaching the finish line on schedule, and best wishes for the future. Gur míle maith agaibh go léir.
Taoiseach should have actually said we finished an hour ahead of schedule. But anyway. So look, again, just a few closing procedural messages from myself. And firstly, and I'll take a few collective, but before I do that, just thank Jesse and Marcus, exceptional role on the OWL tellers. Gave up their lunchtime yesterday, gave a lot of time throughout the whole process, and really do appreciate it. And thanks for putting your name forward to everybody else as well. I will say a few collective pieces, and we can give them a collective round of applause. But again, as always, the professionalism of Pi, Conor and his team, on sound, Jerry and his team. I do also want to thank Q4. I know we've referenced them before, but a communications organisation who've worked with us throughout the whole process and throughout the whole getting messages out and supporting the parallel discussion that's happened around the whole issue of drugs as well. So thanks to those as well. Special thanks as always to Matt and his team. Matt's at the very background in the corner. I have 2 minutes. Good stuff, Luminita. Thank you. That is brilliant. Look, thanks to Matt and his team.
On loan there, Amy.
I know Matt and his team have been facilitating all of the citizens' assemblies that's been held here. And it just shows, it runs like a machine. But staff who just permanently have a smile around as they're working with us and changing timetables and adapting timetables. Thanks, Matt, and really appreciate everything. The quality and the service has been fantastic. If I can, again, just a few people together. Certainly the HSE team who've been working behind the scenes and supporting. It's during very difficult presentations, people might have felt need support, need help, need someone to chat to. And they've done that very professionally behind the scenes in a very diligent way. And I want to thank Anthony and his team as well for that. Our sign language speakers throughout the whole process, but today and yesterday we have Susan and Darren. I know we all see it and understand it, but it's a relentlessly tiring job to be standing on your feet, keeping up with ourselves. So we really appreciate everything you've been doing. Kieran Manning, who's been working with us for the last week or so, but Kieran's brought international and national expertise in terms of process of balloting, and I really want to thank Kieran for his time throughout and working on stuff last night with us as well. So thank you, Kieran. Well done. And just as we are wider public, I do want to thank the, all of the presenters that we've had in here to date, all of the people who've shared in a very real way their lived experiences, all of the public who've had submissions, and indeed in parallel the debates that have happened and informed us in some way, but a parallel set of debates that happened around the Citizens' Assembly.
Some way, in the way
drugs.
they
I want
wanted.
to thank everybody for that. Carl has thanked the Advisory Steering Group and the Lived Experience Group, but I do want to thank them as well, behind the scenes, having given a lot of time, personal time, commitments in very busy roles that they have, all of them in very busy lives. I want to thank them all for how they helped us steer through a very complex area.
Our facilitators, Caroline and all the team, again, they've been brilliant working with us throughout. Just do it in a very calm way. Give us feedback after, tell us what you said, what you thought worked, and we tried to adapt based on it. But behind us, capturing all that data. I made my logo smaller and all for him. Do you notice that?
Thanks,
yeah?
Caroline.
Just in case, like.
And
Cool
finally,
thing to
I've
have,
left
like.
somebody up, but again, I want to thank the Secretariat team. I've worked in the public service just for about 13 years, but to work with a bunch of people who just permanently go around with a smile, and that's really what it is in the office and throughout here when, there's a lot of cogs running around. These guys just permanently going around with a smile, including Jerome as well. Sorry. There he is. But no, it's tremendous professionals, and behind the scenes, as Cathal has said, the work that goes on in preparation for these meetings, logistical work, presenters' work, trying to align the agenda around our terms of reference. Fantastic team that I've worked with. And I also want to particularly, specifically thank Cathal. He said kind words about me, but I have to tell you, he is the backbone and the anchor of all of this process. And my role comes into play when we're here together. His role has come into play every day of every week and before we've even been into this process. And, again, a thorough, absolute, committed public servant. It's what it says on the tin. When you see Cathal, he is a public servant. And I think we've been a bit of a yin and yang together, but we've worked really well behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So thank you, Cathal, for everything.
He's in a fucking Podmore, like. Two guys working together to orchestrate the fucking hoodwink of the citizens.
So I have one more minute, Luminita. Look, just final things from me, as Cathal said. Look, we're here together nearly 7 months, which is an amazing process. A fantastic process to be involved in, fantastic privilege for me to be involved in. I know from chatting to all of you in our social gatherings, you have felt it as a privilege too. And it has been, as the Taoiseach said, it has been a big responsibility. And that's what you have all brought. You've brought that big responsibility. Some of the tensions that we've had throughout the whole process are because you've all come with different views, different aspirations, and where we might get to and what you've heard. But you've had brought. I know in the process of the 7 months as well, many of you have sacrificed things in your own personal lives or things in your work life as well, whether it's birthdays or special occasions, to be here and give up a full weekend every month. That is really special, and I do really appreciate it, and I know it. So thank you for doing all that. As Cathal said, look, it has been a challenging process at different times. It's been a challenging process yesterday, but that literally, I think, yesterday reflects the Irish population, and that's what this process is about. A really difficult issue, really challenging issue throughout the whole process, and that's what you've come forward and done, represented the Irish population in a very good way. And to find a couple of things for me, I think there's few occasions in our lives or our roles or our social lives or whatever that we get a chance to make a really big mark in society, and this for me has been one chance. Time will tell, but we've had the opportunity to set out a stall, to set out a shift and change in attitudes related to drugs and drug addiction, and you've embraced that opportunity. So once in a lifetime, we all get this opportunity to make a difference in society. I do believe this is one we've all got and one that you have grasped really well, and thank you
It's
for
only
that.
in relation to drug addiction. There's nothing to drugs.
Yeah,
restricted to addiction.
Yeah, and look, that is a special thanks to all of you. I've experienced nothing but kindness and humanity dealing with all of you, individually, collectively, supporting me, supporting the team through this process. You're a tremendous bunch of people. You really are. A great looking bunch and a tremendous bunch of people as well overall. So no, I really want to thank you. It's been a pleasure and a privilege. And I know many of you have made friends, many of you have made groups that you'll keep in touch with. And that's just really nice value add, an extra piece to the process. So, and I know I've made great friends. I've made 99 great friends. You mightn't be my friend, you might feel I'm your friend, but I've made 99 good friends. And I really want to thank you for that. My final message actually is to the Taoiseach and government to really do embrace these recommendations. I mean, we've expressed frustration before that, you know, I'll say one more time, if a legislation was agreed in 2017 and agreed by government in 2019 and it's nowhere to be seen as we head into 2024, this can't happen with this report. This can't happen with these recommendations. We've set out we want the most senior accountability level at government level, a dedicated cabinet committee. We don't want this hanging on a shelf. We want it going to the Oireachtas. We want it going to government straight away. People's lives are at stake. This is not just about a policy. This is about saving people's lives, about saving families, saving communities, destigmatising people who have been marginalised through many of the harms caused by drugs. So my special plea to Taoiseach, thanks for your kind comments. What really will make a difference to us is you embrace this report and implement it. So thank you very much, everybody, and safe home.
So that's it, yeah? Look, I thought we were going to get more questions from the audience, from the citizens. That's it. Done. Donezo. Public session on Zoom shortly? I don't think so. I think they're going to kill the stream there now. That should end there now in a sec. That's backed up. Yeah, Amy, I feel your frustration. I feel everybody's frustration out there. Yeah, there you go. 6th meeting of the Citizens Assembly on Drug Use 2021 to the 22nd of October 2023 has now concluded. Yep, so there you go. That's all, folks. Yep. That's what it kind of fucking feels like, you know. This has been a fucking bit of a circus, you know. Yeah, that's it. They just ended the stream. All done. Fuck's sake. So yeah, guys, deflated, Amy says, yeah, that's fucking an understatement for kind of how I'm feeling. Just turn this off there a sec, but yeah, it's over, guys. We kind of got the Citizens Assembly as promised in the programme from government, as we've been waiting for a very long bloody time, unfortunately. But sadly, we didn't get what we wanted out of it. I know Leo there with his smug look on his face. As I was saying, I reckon Leo Varadkar probably recorded that video last night knowing they got what they wanted, you know? Going in front of the camera and being like, yeah, congratulations everyone, well done, you done great, you know, whatever. But knowing like that, they hoodwinked them, they tricked them. They restricted the terms of reference and in order to keep certain views, opinions and information out, you know, out of the view of the citizens, keeping them fearful of the drugs, as I believe it was Dr. Ian Matter had brought up to them. You know, if they're not going to be educated about these drugs in a proper manner, then they're going to remain fearful of them, and that will you know, guide their hand in how they vote then towards the end. And how they voted towards the end was a unanimous objection against the status quo. And then they voted for status quo 2.0. It's like, there's no other way of saying it, like, you know, because the status quo was there as an option. You had the health diversion, and you had fucking comprehensive health led. We've had a health led policy there since 2019, but they've been really slow to enact it, you know. They're still like the caution thing. It's at the discretion of the guards. Guards don't even realise a lot of the times that they can kind of be using their discretion and letting somebody off, giving them an old caution or whatever. No, they still want to drag people to court for as little as like €5 worth of weed. Give people like me 2 months in prison for a CBD joint, you know, which I'm appealing. It's just a heads up, as you're still there. 19th of December, I'm back in court. 6 days before Christmas, 2-month prison sentence over a CBD joint I went into the guard station with as part of a protest against the law, which we've now kind of voted through the Citizens Assembly to continue to uphold, continue to stigmatise, criminalise people like myself. Terry Gavin, yeah, says a load of BS. It's ridiculous. It does feel like it's a load of BS. Look, guys, just to not be completely deflated, guys, we do have one very good thing that came out of this, which was an overwhelming support against the status quo in that very first vote. That's a very, very strong thing at least to be leaving with. You know, if we can't lose sight of that. We did get that from the Citizens' Assembly. They voted against the status quo, overwhelmingly against the status quo. That's something that we need to load up into our, into whatever machine it is that, into ourselves. That's fuel we need to use to drive ourselves as campaigners, that the citizens want change. They want change from the status quo. They voted for a comprehensive health led because, again, as we would make an argument that they've been misinformed, they've been misled. They didn't realise what they voted for was like just the status quo 2.0. Comprehensive health led should include a safe, regulated supply of drugs. It should include a destigmatisation of drug users and extending back the right to the individual to decide when they need a health intervention. If you're going to take away that right, then you're only going to continue to stigmatise people because you're saying, hey, you don't have the ability to make that decision for yourself. We're going to make that decision for you. That's stigmatising. That's demoralising. That's going to be have a negative effect on your mental health. So just keep all that in mind. Legalise tomatoes, says CG. Half hour early before lunch, says Casa de Strogas. Yeah, they finished there a bit early. I really think they should have opened the floor there to more kind of questions, more feedback from the citizens. It seemed like earlier there was a lot that they wanted to say, but maybe there was a reason why they didn't want that to be happening. And what Amy says, I like your attitude, Rash, or as Asher was saying, keep growing, keep protesting. And I love that as well, Asher. As I say, guys, grow your own civil disobedience. That's still within our tool belt, to be using. Protest, civil disobedience. Guys, just because they've not changed the law doesn't mean we can't continue to protest against it. So growing your own is definitely one effective form of protest. Listen, folks, if it didn't go away, we had our hopes, but we go again. Nothing has changed since last week, but we have even more ammunition to go forward on. We keep pressure on and keep up info campaigns. Exactly, Rasher, man. That's it, Keep supporting the likes of Crown out there, guys. Keep getting behind them. Keep getting behind the likes of the Cannabis Activist Alliance. We need more people to be getting involved, to be getting active, to be getting out there talking about cannabis, to be engaging with it. As I say, the 6th of November, guys, I'm going to be working actively there to try to get something to happen on that date. That's going to be the 10-year anniversary of when Luke Ming Flanagan's bill to legalise cannabis was voted on by the Irish government. It was defeated, very strongly defeated. I believe it was, what was the vote, like 118 to 8 or something like that, I think. I might quickly just look at what that was there again earlier. 2013, Luke, cannabis bill. I think it was 100 and odd. Roving Reporter says, nice chatting with you all. Chunky Chess smoking criminals. Maybe we can share a cell sometimes, even a padded one. Stay stoned, folks. So yeah, the bill was voted on the it says the 20th of November actually here now on the Oireachtas. Why did I get it fucking the 6th of November earlier? Just looking at that there now. On the 6th of November 2013, the Dáil it was proposed. So which was defeated by 111 votes to 8. So it was proposed on the 6th of November. And maybe it was voted on then later on the 20th of November or something along those lines, because I got the 20th there actually on the Oireachtas page for something. But yeah, let's see what happens. It was proposed on the 6th of November, so let's fucking get Gino's bill up there again on the 6th of November. Let's just keep that date in mind. The name is Joe. It's happening. Paul Effick says citizens need to be able to charge them for their time being wasted. Stealing things from smokers is stealing food off families. Yeah, as a lot of fellas said earlier, when their cannabis got taken, I'm sure it just resulted in them having to go buy more cannabis, when they go to court, they just have to pay fines, pay donations, you know. I definitely see it as extortion. It's nothing but extortion. You're being held ransom. If you don't pay the money, they're going to fucking take away your good name. They're going to hit you with a criminal conviction, restrict your ability to travel, restrict your ability to be employed, you know. It's ridiculous. Like, it's not difficult enough to be getting a day off of work to go to court. Casa de Strugas, good man, he says the bill was defeated on the 6th and proposed the prior day. I don't know why I got the 20th of November there on the Oireachtas page though, but it did come up there on the Google search. The 6th of November it was he proposed the motion, but yeah, so it was proposed the day before and voted on the 6th, and you were outside that day then at the Dáil. I would have been up there, but I was in college that time. I think I couldn't make the trip. I think it was around freaking yeah, but I can remember he had a big screen outside and the whole lot. The 4th to the 6th. Nice one for that, Casa. We must have a chat there later, maybe, Casa. We'll maybe see if we can organise something to have a bit of a chat, myself and yourself. We do a bit of a stream together again. Have a bit of a chat about this. I'm sure we might be able to get one or two others there on as well. Maybe get Luke and Gino to join us. What would be the chances? I don't know. I seem like I've become a bit of a persona non grata a little bit within certain groups there. I don't know if I kind of expected a bit too much of them, you know, being a bit too critical of some people and stuff. Like, I just feel like they don't like talking to me. Or maybe that's just me. But yeah, man, I'd love to have a chat with yourself. It'd be a great, actually, way to return into doing some chats with people. Will be yourself as you are the first guest. Let's break the ice in the interviews and get yourself on here maybe later or during the week for an old chat. I see a message there as well from Mackie. Free later to join us on the show and we talk about what's been going on over the weekend. Yeah, Mackie, I should definitely be free. I'd imagine it's probably about 9 bells that you'll be looking at doing something. I think, is it 9 o'clock? Maybe G might want to join us. Casa de Strugas. I hope you don't mind me extending that invitation, but I know it really adds to the quality of the conversation anyway, Mackie, and you'd appreciate Casa, Graham. So if you don't mind me extending that invitation, yeah, I'm definitely free. And Casa, if you're free, maybe you might want to jump on with us as well. Says you don't have to be there for the whole show, but maybe you pop in 20 minutes or so, talk about it. It'll be good to inform everybody about what happened. Let me know, man. It'll be good to hear your take on things. Yeah, I'm more than happy to jump on anyway, Mackie. I'll be free there later on. Yeah, man, 9 Mate, he says. And again, apologies if you didn't want me to extend that invitation, but as I said, Graham would be a good guest, and I'm sure it'd be a person you might even have on again in the future, because that guy's got a good head on his shoulders and a wealth of knowledge attained over years and years of campaigning. And as I said, he was the guy who got me into all of this, you know. Taught me a lot. So much appreciated, Casa. Sorry, just reading a couple of more messages there over on the half box, so apologies for the fucking silence. Maeve saying here, I've definitely been convinced to get grown now. I was at Luke Ming's tent at the Plough, so the 6th of November sounds great. I'll try and go. Excellent, Maeve. Well, keep an eye out on the Cron, CAA, and my own pages. I'm sure if we get something organised over the next couple of days, that it'll be plastered all over their pages. I seen that as well about Luke's tent above there at the Ploughing Championships. He had a lot of little Colin stuff up there. He was showcasing a lot of what the plant has to offer in terms of like the CBD, the industrial side of it. That was great. I was gutted I couldn't get up there myself. But yeah, what can you do? The Roving Reporter, catch you later anyway. You signed off there. Casa says, the feeling is mutual, Marty. I've learned much information from yourself about life and nature. Yeah, nice one, man. Nice one. Yeah, if I can, you know what's going on at the moment, actually, and I've been missing it. I done all the summer one, but it was the Orienteering League, myself and Alexis, we managed to complete the summer one, but we didn't get back out for the autumn one, unfortunately. But yeah, man, if you're back, it'd be great to go orienteering with you again sometime. And I'd highly suggest that to other people out there as well, guys. Go look, if you're wanting to get out in nature. People of all ages and abilities can take part in orienteering, and it's a great way to get out there and enjoy the outdoors. And there's lots of local orienteering clubs around Ireland, so check it out. And to the talkers, like, well, it's nice to have a bit of a blaze. And go and get if you got the fitness level and you want to compete, like, and run and stuff, man, it's great. But again, you know, if like your body's unable for running and stuff, you can literally show up early and you've about 2 hours to walk the trail. You can do the small trail, it's like 2 to 3 kilometers, and you'll have it complete in 2 hours, no bother, and it's lovely. Often seen guys like 70 odd with their grandkids doing it, and yeah, that they're having an amazing time, so highly recommend that. Get out there, guys, get active. Just flicking through these there. Casa saying here, I wear the Cork Orienteering jersey in Portugal almost every day. Nice. Yeah, I have to collect my summer orienteering league actually one from this one, but this one we just completed. But yeah, I still have that older one as well. It's kind of a maroon colour, isn't it? Cork Cannabis Social Orienteering Club. It sounds like a great idea, alright, like, but it could kind of end up with a load of people like John Finnegan comes along orienteering. John, you out there? I think John got lost this morning. I didn't see him in the hot box. Maybe orienteering would be good for John. It would help improve his sense of direction and his map reading. Much love, John, if you're out there, buddy. Yeah, Mackie, nice one, man. Says, great stream. Thanks for that, man. I look forward to chatting to you later. Much appreciated. Yeah, guys, I better start signing off there anyway shortly. It's been an absolute amazing to be back on here streaming with yourselves. It's not been the outcome we've been hoping for. Look, we did get one good thing, as I say. Look, just to recap, that we did get that 85% overwhelming support against the status quo. So that's one good thing that came out of it. And unfortunately, we didn't get any other changes really outside of more calls for increased resources for the existing services, for more focus on using health diversion within the justice system. So again, within the justice system, it's not a person actually being able to go out to somewhere and say, hey, I have a problem and I need help. It's no, you get caught by the cops, they're going to put you into the health diversion program first. It's not criminal, hasn't been taken off the table yet. It's just they'll put that first. That's what we have. But look, as I said, going forward, campaigning and socialising as well, guys. We have a Christmas party for the CAA to plan as well, so that should be good fun. Hey, what's happening, Bobby? I see Bobby out there in the audience as well. Says, follow the beard. Hashtag follow the beard. Reference there to Mr. Finnegan's illustrious beard, which he actually, it was once even more illustrious than it currently is, but he donated it, the amazing guy. We had a fundraiser there for End Up With Amy, if you're out there. Amy was going over to Romania for a second surgery, and I believe we raised over £1,000 that evening. There was great support there for a raffle and for John's beard getting shaved. But yeah, what a legend he is. At the Mushroom Orienteering Club for John. Yeah. But guys, yeah, I will absolutely send you much love out. But I have to leave you, get on about the rest of my afternoon, go hang out with the family. As I say, Sunday is family day for myself. I got permission there just to take a couple of hours this morning. I thought this was going to go on up until 1 o'clock, so they'll be happy to see me coming in 10 minutes early rather than like a half an hour late, like yesterday, because I thought it was going to end at 5, but it was like 5:30, and sure I was streaming here with yourselves until almost 6. And apologies as well if you were on the stream yesterday. There was a very abrupt ending to it. I got blue screened here by my bloody computer. Bloody thing crashed out on me, unfortunately. I think I just had a couple of things too many running there in the background, and she had a bit of a brain fart. Must upgrade the RAM at some point, I'd say, or maybe upgrade it in its entirety. I don't know much about these desktops, but we learn as we go. But yeah, we'll be back with Mackie later, guys. So high and homegrown this evening, 9 p.m, guys. You'll catch it over there on the YouTube. So we'll be going live at the 9 p.m. I'll be joining him sometime kind of around then or after that, whatever Mackie wants me on. And Casa de Strugas might be dropping in there with us as well. So do check in later on there with us. But otherwise, guys, it's Sunday, so have a nice stony Sunday, guys. Enjoy it. If you got family and stuff like that, enjoy it with them. But if you're having a nice peaceful, a little bit of alone time, guys, well, namaste. Have a nice day. Much love, guys. Catch you all later. Bye-bye. The 420 News logo. I really got to get back into that 420 News too, guys. So, right, mic off. Bye-bye.